Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. It's Hump Day, so make sure that you are preparing for the weekend as we speak. And how do we prepare tonight? Science Bob is here. Yeah, and he's wearing a great Canadian plaid shirt tonight. And we have Alexei Nitzki here as well. He's got a great hair and beard combination. You're going to be very much impressed with that heading into tonight's show. And yeah, we're in for a good one. I'm not going to know what the hell either one of these scientists are talking about, so I'm just going to sit here and look pretty. That's what I'm going to do. But the best part about tonight is we have each and every one of you here tuning us on in, including race fan in the gold medal position, Robert Lamoth with a silver, Tim Mothman and his goatee sharing a bronze medal tonight. Hi, Linda Thompson. How are you? T-Bone, my man, you're back. And, well, let's see. I'll figure out that hoodie thing. T-Bone, email me, and I will give you a phone call because I need to talk to you about that. Michael Morris, our attorney at large. Frankie B. C. Agunsari, how are you? Welcome to SOR Chat. Bar Madison, what's happening? Wee Runa is here. Wee Runa will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Karen Amario, Thurston Howell III, Luscious Jules, nice to see you all. Lee the Bee, thanks for coming on in. Mel WD40 is here, lubing us up for tonight's show. Because when Science Bob's on the air, he always wants to go into a show nice and smooth. So Mel WD40 lubes up Bob very, very slick so we can slide right into the sciences of the weird and strange. Moving on, let's say hello to little Timmy James. In studio tonight. How you doing, Timmy? Good. John Lamb, nice to see you. Ethanol, Laura Lobbs, good to have you here. Fapperoony, nice to see you. As we continue on with our roll call, Little Cam is here on YouTube. He bench pressed 665 pounds 87 times to warm up for tonight's show. His arms are jacked. Lisa Smith is here. Lisa Smith will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Woo am I? How you doing? Joanne, nice to see you. Hi, Eternity Eternal and Operation Shutdown. Mama Catherine, I love you, Mama Catherine. I hope you had a wonderful day, and hopefully I can make this a good show for you so you have a wonderful evening as well. Walter Kochabinski, how are you? Thank you for coming on in. Paul Demon, Thomas Rock, good to have you both here. Hi there, Search and Destroy and Necessary Dialogue. Galactic J, Glenn John McEnroe, the pride of Wimbledon. How you doing? Al Garay over on Twitch. He's jacked up tonight. 1,400 crunches in 90 seconds. This guy's a jackrabbit. Just an absolute jackrabbit. Pam Harris. Dave Tiger Williams. He'll drop the gloves for you. JSCO, thanks for coming on in. Hi, Jade Truth Seeker. Ian McFadden. And Gloria. How are you, Gloria? Nice to see you. Super Crazy. Number 47 in your program tonight. Starting on defense from Stockholm, Sweden. Lars Jansson. Good to see you, Lars. SJ, Hillbilly Herb, Fast Hemi, good to see you all. Jessica S., Kathy Evans, Jerry Carter, and John Swan, thank you all for coming on in. Millennium, my man, Alien Critter, Rock and Rory, and Nina Williams. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. Yes, Science Bob is lubed and ready. That is correct. He's lubed up. He's given the thumbs up. Emperor Penguin, good to see you. Noble Patrick, Jessica McCreary, and Jerry Carter, thanks for coming on in. Let's move on here. Let us say hello next to, let's scroll down. Dave. It's just Dave in the chat room. Good name. You know he's a good guy because his name is Dave. I'm Hardcore over on X. Thanks for tuning in. Jeremy Jones, good to see you. And Rono how you doing, buddy? And let's see, where are we here on the roll call? Captain K-Rod. Wise Ass McCoy, how are you? And Digger Dog, thanks for coming on in. Let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Science Bob is here with another edition of Science Bob and Friends. We are in roll call on our YouTube side as we say hello to Road Flare. We're pretty much caught up there, but I want to remind everybody in YouTube land, the super chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis, and you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. Why? Because we like you to look good. And you can wear our stuff in more places than just a paint store, a garage sale, a car shop, or anywhere like that. Stay clean. Stay right. We're going to have a good time. Do me a favor, everybody. Throw those horns up. Let's rock. Of Central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our site as well. You can follow us on X, Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a power show of science and paranormal tonight. Dr. Bob McGwier, otherwise known as Science Bob around these parts, is here with a great guest to talk about all things weird and strange. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off. Follow that with little Timmy James and the UFO Report. Each and every month, we bring in our resident scientist, Dr. Bob McGwier, that we call Science Bob. Now, Science Bob is here hanging out with us to tell us not about the woo, but the who, what, where, when, why, and how when it comes to the weird, the strange, the phenomena in general. Now, we take a good look at this. Even though a lot of the topics we talk about are a little bit weird and strange, Science Bob, who has a background from Virginia Tech University where he taught, and many other universities in the United States, literally has the mystique, the background, and the former top secret clearance to be able to break everything down the way we want to hear it so we all understand what the heck is going on in this weird world. Dr. Bob McGwier, a.k.a. Science Bob, it's good to have you here, and you brought a guest with you tonight.
I want everyone to welcome Alexei Nitzki. Alexei and I met in Spaces on X and kind of gotten to know each other, but this is our first face-to-face encounter. Alexei is the owner and operator of Lucia's Lab, LLC. And go to Lucia's LLC's website, and you'll see lots of interesting things there. And we're going to get Alexei to tell us about his work. I particularly want him to talk about Mupas, which is a device that all experiencers should have, especially now. And Alexei's going to tell us why right now is a good time to get that, because it is a very propitious moment for getting one of these devices. So, Alexei, welcome.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the great intro. And well, in short, the Mupas device stands for Modular Unidentified Phenomenon Alert System. And it was invented by a man named Dr. Jim Segala, who studied at the the Institute for Advanced Studies in Austin, Texas, underneath Dr. Hal Puthoff. And so together they formed this study to study experiencers and the background radiations that are associated with them, meaning acoustic, electromagnetic, seismic, gyroscopic, basically any type of wave that you can think of, and how that relates to an experiencer and their journals. They finished phase 1 study, which had over 600 correlations, and now they're starting up phase 2. And during phase 2 study, they're giving out 10,000 of these devices, and they're going to create a global grid of Mupas devices.
That's great. And I can tell you, since I decided to help Jim earlier than when the grant was given, the device is a $500 device before you include the extra stuff. So it's like $750 device, all things included. Guess what? If you got a story, you're an experiencer, you want it monitored, you will agree to participate, it's FREE $0. And Alexei is a place where Lucius LLC is a place where you can get one of these devices.
Yeah, I'm proud to say I met Jim a few years ago. We launched, the very first time I met him, we were launching a weather balloon for the launch of the UAP Society. And basically, we decided to stick one of his devices in it. And so we launched it from Vernal, Utah, and then went out and had to recover it at Dinosaur National Monument Park in Colorado. So very interesting. And since then, we've stayed close, and we've been working on a way to release this concept and this idea to the mass public, to the mass population.
Yep, it's I can tell you from my own long expertise doing these embedded devices kind of things. It's using the modern embedded microcontroller for edge devices, and it is really well put together. So unlike lots of early devices, this has been through it a bit. So I got a software-defined radio, a radiation detector, and other things, and plugged it into, and the device immediately recognized my stuff and put it to work. And now it's sending signals of the weird that happened at my house to Lala and I, and going out, and they correlate the times when we see something with the measurements that are made in the device to say what device measurements might indicate the presence of a UAP or other weirdness. So it's just a great thing. So Alexei, thank you for that introduction about that. Do us a favor and tell us about you and your business and how it all got started for you.
Oh, wow. Well, in very short.
No, make it as long as you want. Tell us the story.
Well, ever since I was a child, I knew I would create Lucius Labs, which would bring my dreams into reality, because you can only really go as far as your boss will ever let you go. So in that sense, it's important to basically follow your heart, your intuition, and nothing stands between you and creation. So since the age of 5, I've been learning in my dreams, and things to me like telekinesis, remote viewing, all that kind of stuff, very, very real. No reason why you can't just create what you actually see in your dreams. And so throughout life, the idea is, how do you prove this to the general population? Like, how do you actually show people that they can achieve what they see in their dreams? And well, most people right now are like really into tune with physics and science, right? Like that's the way you actually prove stuff to people. So you need to go study physics, you need to go study science, but at the same time, you need to go and create things. So that's where I got my background in astrophysics, physics, planetary science, astronomy, mechanical engineering, and founded my own company before I graduated with my master's, right? And so I've been working on releasing this information to the general public since very, very young age. And in general, what it really comes down to is understanding that there is way more to reality than we can perceive. So that's been my general idea. How do you prove that scientifically? Well, Dr. Jim Segala seems to have the most realistic, and so since I've met him, I've been working very closely with him to move this forward.
That's great. I'm so happy to have met you, and glad that you are aiding Jim. And if those that don't remember who Jim Segala is, you may have heard or seen him in the first season of What the Heck is Happening at Skinwalker Ranch, where he was one of the scientists on the team in the first season. And after he did what he needed to do to tune up his ideas about the devices, he left and went back working for Hal Puthoff, and now is doing his own thing. He now lives in Rhode Island, associated with the stuff up there, and also doing these devices. So it's very good. Now, look, I have a question. I can't tell you how happy and excited I was to find out that you have done some really serious work in skateboards. Tell us about it.
Well, that's actually a really funny story. So I basically learned to skateboard while skating from class to class at the University of Colorado in Boulder. And that's where I received my undergraduate degrees. But when I was doing my master's studies at USF, I really did not like skating with a backpack. So I decided to design a different skateboard, and I put my books inside my skateboard. I basically built a board you could open up, you could close it. And so then I went to class, and I happened to be in a class called, what was that even called? Communication and Design, but it was being run by a man named Franco Lodato. And Franco Lodato is the guy who put the rubber grip on a toothbrush. He's the guy who put multiple razors on a razor blade. He created the first flat phone with Motorola called the Razor. And he saw my skateboard concept sitting in the middle of the classroom, and he said, "Hey, you need to patent that right now." And so I met with him after class every single day, and basically ended up writing a general utility patent for a skateboard with built-in storage. It's now been on display at the Smithsonian Museum 3 different times, and I have an electric skateboard model based off of that concept.
So when I saw that you were that guy, I went back to the first time I saw that in the Smithsonian because I knew it had to be you.
That's pretty funny.
It is hilarious. So you have some interesting ideas that you and I need to talk offline, because I'm already doing a bunch of work in ionospheric research with radio and writing down equations that extend physics in several directions, trying to find a fit for the things we're interested in. But you have a different look at the physics that is all around us in a 5-dimensional viewpoint of it. Try to boil it down as much as you can for our audience.
In essence, everything is related to your inertial reference frame. So basically, the way you perceive the energies you perceive are based off of your position, your velocity, and your acceleration. I mean, we could keep integrating motion, but let's keep it as simple as possible. And so basically, you're a point of attention within a greater, within it all. Like every single point of attention has a relative vibration with every other point of attention within the greater structure of what is the cosmos. And to think about the concept of scale and how we have an auditory spectrum, we also have a visual spectrum. We also potentially could have a conscious spectrum based off of the harmony of our minds. We see that when it comes to sound, we can only hear from basically 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, right? Infrasound to ultrasound. Same with, you could say infrared to ultraviolet. There's a very specific spectrum, but that doesn't mean that wavelengths don't exist on both sides of that spectrum. And the same with conscious harmonics. And we have delta through fast gamma as far as, you could say, radio channels of experience for the human body. But who's to say there aren't more channels that are more denser, meaning faster than fast gamma, or less dense, which would be slower than delta? And so when you're a point of attention existing within a toroidal form of infinity, you see that there's different information matrices. And also our perception of a now moment is based off of a relative perception of 1/2 past and 1/2 future. And so depending on where you are existing within this greatest toroid is your stretch and crunch ratio as far as the ability to perceive matter and the ability to perceive light. And so essentially you get 4 different inertial states. when you're considering just that rotating motion of infinity, you get, you could say denser future, less dense future, less dense past, less dense inner, denser, right? So, and when it comes to humans perceiving matter and perceiving space-time itself, well, that's why the future is being crunched to us as matter, our light being stretched away. But when we look out and we observe the past, the matter is being crunched back towards us and the light being stretched inward. And so we're very limited to our ability to perceive reality based off of the relative vibrations existing within superposition, as well as our evolved state as a human, right? So in essence, our perception of space-time is related to a factor of the speed of light outward and one time the speed of light inward, but that's at every single Planck voxel of perception. The easiest way to show that is we can't see past the smooth cosmic microwave background, but we also can't see past the event horizon of black holes. And so the same may be true for every point of attention within space.
That's really neat. So there's a lot to that, as you can tell, folks. And I'm going to be bugging Alexei with questions so I can get the picture. So it sounds somewhat similar to Roger Penrose's twister view of space-time, because if you do the twister view, what you get out of this is this 5-dimensional thing. So have you considered that, and is it in fact related?
I would say that is very, very highly related. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and the thing I like about the twister view of space-time, it beats the heck out of having light rays go off in any willy-nilly direction in space-time, and you look at a light ray as one of the guideposts. And of course, in space-time, that every point on it has distance 0 away from every other point. And so the twister is your staff. That's, you fold everything around in space-time in twister theory. It's not easy at all. It's difficult mathematically, but it really does appeal to me through my intuition.
When you consider the twister space, I mean, so there's different distances from the center, right? And so you have faster frequencies towards the center and slower frequencies towards the outside. Consider that toroidal form of infinity, and you being somewhat a spiral of energy that's being stretched and crunched into physicality as that point of attention in the center, essentially all delta, theta, alpha, beta, slow gamma, fast gamma all have different information matrices, but they're all synchronized within this 5th dimensional form. Each one has a different diameter, and so that somewhat shows that everything is like a synchronization of a toroidal form. And so that relates as well, I believe, to that twister space concept, where not necessarily do you not only have blips of matter, but you have synchronizations of different layers creating the matter.
Okay, so you
like a tidal locking, essentially.
Okay, I'm going to switch topics on you quickly, like I usually do. Okay, you spoke of how things come to you. I can speak to how things come to me. So since I was a child, there would be times when something would teach me in a download. So when I was 3, I woke up one morning and I could read books off my mother's shelf to her and her friend. No one had ever taught me to read. And when I was 10, I had a massive bunch of downloads. That was the first time I got into radio, built my own radios, designed some new radios, but built my own telescope. And it was just memorized Grey's Anatomy from cover to cover. I got to tell you, I was challenged to do that. I don't think I actually memorized it. I think it was a download, because the doctor who challenged me came to our home and challenged me with things from out the book, and I just knew the answers. And so you have things in dreams, but I get things through weird downloads. And so just you and I were talking earlier about Hawkeye 360. So radio location, especially from airplanes and satellites, that's an 80-year-old topic. Nobody has the right to think they can do something new in a topic that's been discovered and had billions of dollars spent on it for 80 years. However, I'm sitting in a meeting in aerospace company in Southern California, not far from Los Angeles Air Force Base. I'm sitting there and I get a download. And I went, oh, this is different and it is going to be useful. And so I went around till I tried to give away the idea to the National Reconnaissance Office. I tried to give away the idea for almost nothing to Lockheed Martin by flowing it through government, and they didn't want to hear it. So finally, I found the right venture capitalist. They put money in it. They listened to the crazy idea and said, what are the things you want to do? I says, well, I want to find boats that are doing illegal fishing. And I want to find people who are using radios to do illegal human trafficking. And then you can do all sorts of other things with this for the intelligence community, because they weren't cleared, so I couldn't tell them. So the idea was crystallized. Everybody can go read these patents. They are brand new ideas using modern bleeding edge technology to do RF geolocation from on orbit. And it's just turned into this deal. I mean, you can go see those on board of advisors, name the last directors of 3-letter agencies, and they're there on that board of advisors. It's just kind of, and Alexei, it's one of these kind of things where you got this download, you don't know where it's going to go, you hope it goes someplace, and you do it, and you go, all I hoped was I could build a satellite that would one day take it up. So, and I couldn't afford much, so I had to go to the University of Toronto, get this approval from Commerce and State Department to talk to them about spacecraft and get them to build it. And so they built 3 of them. We got it launched on a SpaceX Falcon 9 with our last few dollars, and they worked. It was kind of amazing. So it's just one of these weird stories. And I know, Alexei, you've had this kind of weird input for ideas your whole life. No, so I bored the audience with mine. Tell us the exciting part of yours.
Oh, wow. I mean,
okay, so wait, I'm sorry, Alexei. Wait. We're 2 minutes from outgo. So we're going to come back and let you tell us that story. I'll remind the audience and pick it up. So I just want to tell you that later on, there's been a ton of UFO news today. I think, you and I are both interested in that. And I think we should go over and bring Dave into the conversation, because lots of things are happening in Congress elsewhere. So let's turn it over to Dave and let him get in this and then take us out of here for the first half hour.
I'm just surprised that you let me speak, Science Bob. I feel so privileged.
Alexei's fun.
Oh yeah, no, I've been sitting here listening to you guys, and I'm surprised you haven't seen me scratching my head, because I'm just trying to figure out everything that, as a non-scientific guy. This is why I love this show when we do this segment once a month, because it gives me a chance to actually learn a little bit. And the big thing that in trying to understand for you guys, this is about creating awareness for something that is happening, and using technology to create that awareness that is affordable for the average Joe who has an interest in this to actually, try and get results. I think that's exciting. I really do think that's exciting, because a lot of things that we do in this field on a nightly, weekly, monthly basis, we hear of all the, the people who can afford the big scientific gear in trying to find patterns to these UFOs, because UAPs are man-made, Bob. And I'm trying to.
Well, I got to tell you what, as Alexei and I both can tell you.
For a minute,
As Alexei and I both can tell you, you don't need $1 million gear to do work that's relevant.
No, and that's what's exciting. And the fact that you'll be able to, if you get enough of these out there, that you'll be able to triangulate everything with real-time data. I mean, the average person can actually feel like they're contributing to something that's important going towards humanity.
10,000 of them in the field. That was my dream when I started Sky Hub, and it went flat when we had issues internally, and now it's come, and I'm as happy as I can be. So when we come back, Dave, I'm going to introduce you to the thing that what made me most interested in Alexei. Alexei is a polymath, and it is really interesting to meet a polymath.
Science Bob and Friends with Alexei Nitzki tonight from Lucius Labs on Space Down Radio. Science Bob and Friends with Dr. Bob McGwier. We'll be right back right after this, everybody. All right, we're clear.
Yes.
Good start, boys.
Oh, it was fun. That was a fun half hour.
I'll give
And
you guys.
Alexei, how are you feeling?
I'll give you a few claps.
You feeling all right?
Are we on a commercial break right now?
Yeah,
what's
it's
happening?
a commercial break. Yeah.
Podcast
Are you okay? You're okay for the next half hour, right?
I've got one more half hour for sure. I just need to be up at 6 a.m.
Okay,
My
yeah.
managing a
Whenever
job
you
site.
need to leave, just let us know. Dave and I
Okay.
have a lot to talk about.
Yep.
Well, you want to speak on downloads? I mean, I could definitely go into
Oh
that.
no! You're definitely going to do that, and I'm gonna sell you to the audience when we come back, and then you're gonna go.
Sounds good.
Good time, Science Bob.
I love this show.
Yeah, Bob, we're a little disappointed in the beard trim, you know.
It was just too much, dude. I had to trim it down and let it grow back again. I mean, look at Alexei. His is perfect.
That's
Mine
gorgeous.
just sits there and curls up like crazy, and I just have to trim it or it drives me insane.
Yeah. Alexei has the perfect hair and beard combination going on.
Perfect. It's perfection.
I'm working on it.
There you go.
I was a hair model at one point in my life.
I believe it. I believe it. As I said, polymath. Good at all sorts of things.
I've done almost all, and I don't know about all that. I have more experience than many people my age. Let me just put it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah, my first download, though, was when I was like 5 years old. I woke up from a dream and told my brother I can ride a bike. And he said, show me. And he took the training wheels off my bicycle and I jumped on it and rode it with no problem.
Oh, yeah. There you go. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So yours was both technical and training through means you didn't know. Like somebody taught me to read. Somebody taught you to ride a bike.
Hey, that's a great way of putting it. And it's because you wake up with a certain vibration about your body. And that, I like to call that your light state harmony. And that's like the potentiality that based off of the postures you're holding in mind, body, and spirit, that gives you the potentialities of where you can go in life kind of thing and what you can achieve. So by changing your light state harmony, you can shift your body in many different directions.
After I got 10 years old and gotten all of this technical stuff, I just was not available to think of the consciousness and the more ephemeral stuff and to think about telepathy. I just was not available to do it because my mind was solely focused on the physicalist, materialistic world. And this has been a retraining. And now living with Lala, I don't have a choice.
Very cool. Are we on in 7 seconds? How does this work?
We are coming on in 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. I'm going to step away for a second then.
Yeah, we have a 6-minute break.
Okay. I'm still here. I'm just stepping off camera. I'm enjoying a nice, cool Marlboro.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have a puff for all of us. Boss Monster, how are you? Ben Eubanks, nice to see you. The Doug Shelby is here, everybody. The Doug Shelby. Trot Dog, how are you? Thanks for coming on in.
Your beard looks great, Dave.
Thank you. I just got a trim last week.
It really looks good.
Yeah. He found the perfect way to hide my double chin. And then
my double chin is receding because I've lost some weight.
And then when I comb it, I got to comb it down towards the tip so it looks a little pointed there. Yeah. That's what gives me the more svelte look. Svelte. Unsch Davis Svelte. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, I saw how fat I was in the interview with Jesse Michaels, and I was determined I had to go lose some weight.
Oh, yeah. I know
that was a good interview. I really enjoyed that.
Oh, it was so much fun. Really was fun. He is one nice guy.
That's cool. As far as downloads, though, man, like all my books have come through extremely vivid downloads too. To where
do not forget, as soon as you get to the right point, to tell people about your books.
I was gonna pull it out. Like I have it right here.
Dude.
Jets, hold on. We're gonna come back in 15 seconds. Thank you to Glenn, John McEnroe, and Ozzy Simon for the super chats. Greatly appreciate the love and support. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe, ring that bell, and you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store and our website. Here we go, everybody. Here we go in the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us on Science Bob and Friends. We'll continue that conversation momentarily. But first, I want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Dr. Bob McGwier, a.k.a. Science Bob, is here with his guest tonight. Even though Bob's my guest, Bob brought his own guest. Alexei Nitzki from Lucius Labs is here, and we're glad to have you both here. Now, I think we're going to get into more of the psionics side of the story here, Bob. But, Alexei, you also have a book that you want to just give a shout out where people can learn.
Several of them.
Well, before the break, we were talking about download experiences, I believe.
Dude, let's go there. So look, people, Alexei, I kind of identified. We're very different, but I identified with him after I got to know him a little bit because I knew he was getting downloads. I didn't know the modus operandi for those giving him downloads. It's a little different from mine, but it's interesting. Then I saw that Alexei was into all sorts of things. He is definitely a polymath. So tell us about all that stuff, Alexei. We really are interested.
Well, that's what I was speaking on earlier when you were talking about, you asked me about the skate case and how I wanted to basically move the skate case forward. You know, I saw it in my dream. I took my class. It's been that way throughout my whole life, almost. Like the very first time I rode a bicycle was in a very, very lucid dream. I woke up and I told my brother, I know how to ride a bicycle. I was 5 years old. And basically he said, prove it to me. And he took the training wheels off my bicycle, that training wheels, and I just jumped on it and rode perfectly with no help, no assistance. First time I rode a bicycle was me as a 5-year-old with my 7-year-old brother. And that type of, you can, in quotes, confidence or believing in your dreams has remained with me, right? The ability to actually follow a thought and to follow a dream has remained with me. And in my dreams, I've also seen like remote viewing, telekinesis. We're going into psionics. You were right about that. I've seen all that stuff as being very, very real my entire life. And so at the age of 10, I got a hold of one of Uri Geller's books that basically you could teach yourself remote viewing, you could teach yourself telekinesis, all that kind of stuff. And my most vivid experience as a child was a download experience where I was in a deep meditative trance. And you could say, I know you have experience with the orbs, working with, Chris Bledsoe as well as Mello on X and whatnot.
And at home every day.
You're right. So basically this orb flies into my room and sits right in front of me, but then opens up. And inside of it was like a being. And it held out both of its hands and it taught me the delusions of mankind. And so that's what most of my work is based off of, is that philosophy right there, which is how we're all born into. A delusion can be anything that we think we are, anything that we've created as humans, because the simplest way to put it is you have a natural primordial flow of creation, but then you also have the wants, don't wants, assumptions, and expectations of all the minds that exist within it. So there's a differentiation between a natural flow of creation and that of a distorted creation based off of free will and choice. And so through that, you could say there's a laminar flow of creation through the fifth dimension, which is that toroidal form of infinity. And at every dimensional layer, the wants and the pacing motions of beings distort the space-time as it drifts inwards, meaning towards a future in our 4D perspective. And so that was the delusions of mankind, kind of given to me at the age of 10. Go prove that. Right? So how do you prove that? Well, you need to study like physics, you need to do engineering, and you need to basically use your understanding of physics to create engineering technologies to then prove it, right? You need to follow the scientific method. And so throughout that process, I've been working on creating different technologies. One concept I do have, and I did have it patent pending for a while, is an interdimensional telescope.
Oh my goodness.
Right, because if you consider that we live in a toroidal form of infinity, our perception is related to the acceleration of the speed of light. You could somewhat consider that we live on the surface of a black hole, where we're orbiting this greatest center with an acceleration towards center at light speed. And so things that are more inward are being crunched as matter, but the second it becomes more outward, it's being shot off as light. So that's somewhat the differentiation of energy when it comes to the difference between matter and light, is an accelerated factor of the speed of light. Because light itself as a photon, right, it accelerates at the speed of light, but then it remains at the speed of light once it's in motion. So the difference between matter and light is an accelerated factor of the speed of light, which you could say is a distance, a certain threshold around a greater structure. And so when it comes to the interdimensional telescope and conscious harmonics existing within the brain, the concept of superposition, you could say that every single conscious harmonic has a certain rotational rate. Delta would be 1.25 because that's the hertz, right? Theta, I like to start with delta at 2.5. It just makes the math really easy and simple. I'm not that good at math. So delta would be 2.5, theta 5, alpha 10, beta 20, slow gamma 40, fast gamma 80. What's the next layer of experience? I call that the alley wave. The next one, the omega wave. I call that entire next harmonic of experience the noviverse, but that's more denser. That's a faster harmonic existing within this, you could say, spinner state. I'm not sure if that's the right words to use.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
You get what I'm saying there, right? So how could you harmonize a beta state existing within this toroidal form of infinity to a wave state that exists in the noviverse, or one that exists, what I like to call the lower verse, which is less dense, slower than delta, right?
I can't tell you how happy I am to have this conversation, because I finally now, listening to you talking to us, I understand what dense means in your context. Yeah, I really get it now. Yeah. If you look at the sine wave, everything's crunched together very much more compactly in higher frequencies and spread out to less compaction at lower frequencies. This is good.
Right. And I mean, that speaks on the concept of energetic densities. And so the other day, Dr. Jim Segal and I were doing a show together, and he was speaking on the idea of an energetic density flowing over you, creating a distortion in the space-time metric, right? And so that would relate to either like a red shift or a blue shift when it comes to our perception of space-time interacting with that distorted space-time, depending on whether or not the vortex or toroid is coming towards you or if it's coming away from you from that higher energetic state. And what he has come to see is that most of them create some sort of redshift behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with Steve Mira. He has time dilation detectors. He's basically got two atomic clocks tied together with a cord, and he can detect the time dilation between a point where the phenomenon took place and one where it didn't take place. And he sees a loss of time. Also, somewhat speaking on the idea of a redshift or an expanded state of the metric. And so when the UAP and whatnot are flying around us, there's an indication that there's a energetic density creating a distortion of the space-time metric, whether towards blue shift or red shift, one of the two. And so you have, in essence, energy is coming from less dense realms, right, in quotes, and denser realms.
Yeah, look, I mean, I really believe that we are really kind of close to writing down usable equations from which we can go do engineering to build these craft. Now, if the secrets that keep leaking out are true, the inside has known about it for decades. But look, once again, we don't freaking need them if we figure it out for ourselves, which I think we're close to. I think we're about to figure it out for ourselves. I think the thing that they are going to have that we're going to need are some metamaterials that we don't know how to make on the outside, that they know how to make on the inside. However, the advent of, they have to fear like crazy the advent of artificial intelligence, because these artificial intelligence trained engines that can do logic, math, etc., and then do perspective looking and try to glue things together through logic and math. We're gonna get the metamaterials. You could say, do this work, so that when the outcome is a material that has the following properties, we'll be able to specify that. That's your prompt. You write down the prompt and let it go off and cook for however long it needs to cook, and magic comes out the other end telling you how to build these metamaterials. It's just,
I think that's inevitable, unless the only way that could be stopped is because certain platforms do get censored. You know, like Google has its censorship, YouTube has its censorship. Could AI potentially be built in with some sort of censorship? And I think that would be the only way to potentially avoid what you're discussing right there. You know,
I don't think they can do it. I think so. Here, I would take an example. I would take all of them and let each part do something, feed it to the other part and say, what did it get wrong, so forth, and then go off and let the Chinese one that has no sensors in it to do it, etc. I mean, they cannot keep it contained. That's number one. Number two, quantum field theory is what we know. And one of the first things I got asked to work on when I got to Virginia Tech by the chief scientist of Lockheed Martin was to take a quantum computer and do materials work, because they needed to have fuel for jet airplanes with higher heat capacity. I went, what? And so now Alan says to me, look, let me tell you the deal. These airplanes we're building, we don't want them to throw heat out, because heat can be tracked. So what we do is we take all the heat from all the electronics, etc., and we dump it into the fuel. So if we have higher heat capacity in the fuel, we can dump more heat into the fuel, and the things outside won't see that we're actually there through infrared. And I went, wow. And they gave me access to, at the time, the world's largest quantum computer to work on this problem. It was amazing. And how an eye-opening experience that was. So look, you're right, this artificial intelligence stuff, because we're going to be able to train it to do the equation evolutions that right now we couldn't figure out how to compute it on regular computers if our life depended on it.
You know, that's so fascinating. Like, not to get distracted by an old idea at this point, but the idea of taking all that energy and that heat and using the fuel source as the heat sink, it's
awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah.
It's how they keep the F-35 and the F-22 invisible to infrared sensors.
I was going to say that's like running gasoline through your radiator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Oh, Dave, we're easily amused. Have you noticed?
Yeah, me too.
I'm just happy to be here right now. I'm listening to you guys and I'm thinking, man, this is why I took journalism. Yeah, this is why I took math. Was not my strong sense. But do you see all of these calculations? Either one of you can answer this. Do you see all of these calculations leading to an actual, maybe an actual answer to what is coming here, what we are doing. Because math, the one thing I do know about math and my very little knowledge of math is numbers don't lie. Yes, they can be skewed, but numbers overall do not lie. And if you get the right numbers, whether it's binary or whether it's just through equation, are we able to learn the maybe the trajectories of where these are coming from? Maybe if it's portals, maybe if it's from space, maybe it's dimensionally. Are we going to be able to prove that?
So here, let me tell you the difficulty. This is a great question, Dave. That's actually a really smart question, but let me explain to you the difficulty. You're talking about evolving some system through its time to see where it's going and or where it comes from. The problem is that problem is bounded at you, whatever your starting point is, by all sorts of initial conditions. And if you get those initial conditions wrong, you'll go to a wrong universe. So we don't know how to get all those initial conditions right, no matter how well we know the actual equations. So it's really two hard problems. One, we might write down the math. The other, how do we start it? We don't know how to start it. So there's going to be a lot of math, a lot of computing, and a ton of experimentation, ton of trial and error. And over the trial and error, we will figure out how to set the initial conditions so we get what we want in the end.
Well, let me follow that up then. How do you compute through mathematics, if possible, psionics? Using the brain to communicate.
Right now, we do not have a mathematical theory of consciousness that will allow us to do that easily. Now, there are lots of hints to this, lots of them. So let me just give you some recent examples, and then let's let Alexei comment. So recently, I've been working for 4 years to find the connection between thermodynamic equilibrium and thermodynamic entropy and information entropy, because I just knew there had to be a connection. And recently, a team put together a thing that showed in the quantum states still evolve entropy to a higher number through time, but they transition from thermodynamic entropy, quantum entropy to information entropy, and they wrote it all down. And so now we know for a fact, Dave, that information bits in consciousness are connected to thermodynamics or the rest of the physical universe. And we now have a hint at how to go about it. It was a major piece of work, just a major. And so this is going to change stuff. And then we have Donald Hoffmanoff talking about a mathematical model of consciousness that really allows us to approximate physical theories, and he's working with all these super brain physicists at the Institute for Advanced Study. And I know, Alexei, I know you got something to say about all this.
Oh man, I almost want to just refrain from saying anything. But the question was, how does consciousness or human awareness relate to physicality? Is that the fundamental question?
Yeah, but you're a person who's a practitioner of the ability to have your consciousness manipulate the physical universe. So I just want you to comment in any way you want to.
Well, I mean, that's where I think that the mind is the shifter and reorganizer of physical nodes, whereas the body is the mind's spaceship.
Yes.
And we're really only perceiving physicality in our alpha and beta states of awareness, maybe slow gamma. Typically, when we're in delta and theta states, we're somewhat in a dreamland or meditation land. When we're at fast gamma, we're hitting a different information matrix as well. If you consider the collapsing of waveforms from that scaled wave nature being crunched into a now moment, you would see that like your mind, the mind of it all, is already starting to create paths of least resistance. It's creating the potentialities for a node 2 form and 2B matter. And that starts with the collective subconscious mind. So as the collective subconscious mind interacts with the naturally occurring universe, we already have this collapsing waveform. And so our paths of free will and choice are created by the subconscious. But then our conscious mind also has the potential to interact with the path of free will and choice. And so there's distortions, again, at every dimensional layer. to ultimately where our postures themselves create distortions in denser layers and denser layers. And that now I'm going to just say it very quickly, that gets into the idea of tulpas, and basically that concept of summoning. And that's just the way that I would naturally answer that. I mean, I really don't have much else to say.
No. So look, just let me do it from the other guy's point of view. So Donald Hoffman has proved a theorem, in a mathematical theorem based on the game theory of evolution, and it's reasonably good because it makes great predictions about evolution. So let's just take the theory as essentially proven for now. Under the assumption that game theory of evolution predicts the dynamics of evolution, he has shown that any kind of entity that actually fully finite entity actually perceives true reality is selected against by the universe. So what is selected for is the illusion we get in our perceptual system of the universe that maximizes our ability to survive and thrive.
100%.
We live in an illusion.
100%. And when you consider just toroidal forms of energy within space-time itself, it seems as if all of our 5 major senses come from the 2 local toroids of information. So we get sound, touch, taste, and smell from that of the earth. We get the sense of vision from that of the sun, right? That's why our eyes are centered around the color yellow. It's kind of like, or green yellow. It's the maximum wavelength of output emitted by the black body radiation of our sun.
Yep.
Our ears are tuned to the average vocal cord of another human being, and so on. And so that's 2 toroids of creation. That's our 5 senses. How many different wave types are we not even capable of understanding?
Yeah, radio waves, X-rays, gamma rays, and other sound waves that we can't really hear with our ear. There's a plethora of them.
Well, I mean, not even that, but just like waves that we can't even comprehend, because we've only evolved to detect those sound and visual waves based off of the 2 local toroidal forms.
Yep.
Have we really evolved to detect the 3rd toroidal form, or 4th, or 5th, or 6th, or that of infinity? And so that's why I think our sense of synchronicity and our sense of love comes from that toroidal form of infinity. It's almost the senses and the evolutionary state working backwards. It's your ability to be a node in time and have a harmonious existence by understanding, through your choices, where you will, because it's almost like a collapsing of the paths of least resistance, right? A conservation of energy, knowing the choices to make to be harmonious with creation. And that's where I think that's where that sense of love comes from, is that greatest form of creation versus our physical senses, which come from that of the earth and that of the sun. So
I just wanted to say that I know you're a meditator, and you know that when you get to what people call this Kundalini experience, because you feel the infinity. It is an amazing feeling. Dave?
We got 2 minutes to go here before we have to go to break here at the top of the hour. Yeah, the whole meditative experience of what you can see and the enlightenment you can have. I think a lot of people forget, Alexei, that you don't need to make a half hour out of your day or an hour or 2 out of your day in order to do this. It's about just sitting back, relaxing for 5 minutes and just breathing it all in and the negativity out.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only that, but meditation in motion. Why not meditate while driving? Why not meditate while
walking
working?
meditation, driving meditation, all of them.
Yep.
Just be present in the moment. That's the deal. And the training you go through is training your mind, your body, your heart, your soul, whatever, to be present in the moment. And after you learn that and you're mindfully aware of what's going around you, because you're fully present in the moment, it is freeing beyond belief.
100%.
Alexei, where can people find your books?
I have my books on Amazon.com, and it's called, this is the 9-book anthology, right? So
terrific. You got them all together.
What's that?
They're all together in one volume.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I felt like that was much easier, and that way, because I was selling them individually for my website, but that involves me packing it, shipping it. To put it on Amazon makes life easier. Um, there you go.
There you go. Alexei Novitsky's Infinity on Amazon. There you go, folks.
Yeah, thank you. And I feel like I do need to take off though during this break, so this might be a good time to say goodbye before the break starts.
Tell our audience whatever you want to tell in maybe 30 seconds.
15 seconds.
Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to what I have to say. And Mr. Science Bob McGwier, thank you for having me. Dave, thank you for having me, And hats off to Spaced Out Radio.
Thank you, Alexei.
Nitzki. Science Bob and Friends continues with hour 2 when we return on the big show. We'll be right back. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, we're clear.
Alexei, that was fantastic. I hope you had a good time because I damn sure did.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I mean, I wish I could stay up later, but like,
I get it. I get it. Go get some rest.
All good.
You will be back.
I appreciate that. And I'll see you in spaces soon, I'm sure. Dave, thank you. It's great meeting you.
Yep.
Take care, guys.
Good night, Lexi.
Yep. See ya.
All right, Science Bob, I'm going to put you in the background. We'll be right back, okay?
Yep.
All right, I am back. All right. Teen, how you doing? Let's bring back Science Bob. There he is. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra.
That was a good hour.
That was a good hour. It's only minus 16 here, Bob. Warming up.
Well, we've had 4 inches of snow, but it rained starting this evening, and it's about mostly melted.
He's in, where are you, Maryland?
Yeah.
So one of them East Coast states things.
Yep.
Yeah. Big thank you tonight to Simon, Glenn John McEnroe, Area 53, Jay, and Joe Kirk for the great super chats. We greatly appreciate the love and support, everybody. So thank you very, very much. And here we go with hour number 2. Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Science Bob and Friends continues right after this. Hello to everyone out there in Woo Land. Hope you're enjoying the ride on the Woo train tonight. I want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Sigonology. Yep, Sigonology is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as a clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Dr. Bob McGwier is here. We call him Science Bob around these parts. And we're going to get into a lot of interesting UFO talk coming up here because there is much going on. Science Bob can be found on all platforms. I'll let you give where people can find you, Bob.
Yeah, on X, I'm Bob McGwier _N4HY, Science Bob McGwier N4HY. So that's my amateur radio call sign. And on Facebook, I'm just Bob McGwier.
Love it. Love it. So where do you want to go? Do you want to get into Annapolina Luna? Do you want to get into...
Let's do all of that because that'll take some time.
All right. Well, apparently, according to Representative Annapolina Luna, there's now 2 shooters that she believes took out JFK as she helps establish I'm going to say a very conspiracy theory type group within Washington, D.C. to clear up a lot of these conspiracies that have been linked to the United States government, Bob.
Well, it's ridiculous that all the hoopla and crap covered up some of the major science that was done after the shooting and just friggin' covered up, for example. And just let me point out, we can do a lot better now. But you take all the people who recorded the incident, you locate them on a map, and from the audio they captured while they were capturing a video, you can localize where the shots came from. And that was done not that long after the Kennedy assassination using ancient technology and computing. And now we have modern technology and computing with artificial intelligence and a bunch of other stuff that can do searches that are so large we couldn't even think about them then. And so we can redo that analysis and probably locate the shooters to a foot.
Is it wise to open up this Pandora's box? I know it's been 60 plus years, Bob.
Here's the deal. The people of the United States believed that its own government killed a duly elected president of the United States. We need to know whether that's true or not true. We need to know a lot of things that we believe our government has lied to us about. And we need to get over the hurt of learning what it is was actually done, or get a story told that we can believe, and then allow us to recover. We want to forgive something so we can get stuff done.
But will it benefit what we are doing today?
It will be in the way of UAP disclosure and 0-point energy and time traveling and propulsion to other star systems. It'll be in the way of that because it'll be a major scandal, especially if people in government were involved in it. And it will be a distraction.
One of the main reasons why they haven't let it out that I've been hearing in my study of the JFK situation is because those names that were tied to that were also tied to other programs, other security events that they can't give out their name because those events are still highly classified. And if you allow their name to come out in one, it could expose them in the other. Now, layman's terms, you think, well, if Science Bob is involved in event A, we can't tie him to event B because we don't know what event B is. So, but that seems to be one of the cover-ups as to why they don't want to give a lot of names.
Can I tell you, I am much more cynical than you and other conspiracy theorists are. Here's what I think. In those records is covered up that we had 9,000 clues that this was going to happen, especially since we know our Oswald was a CIA asset. And they missed all sorts of crap and made utter fools out of themselves and let the president get killed. That's as bad as almost anything, except they pulled the trigger themselves. Government loves to cover up incompetence.
Okay. So what about then, let's tie this to UFOs, because UFOs and USOs are on the list for Anna Paulina Luna and her new task force as well. This could have ripple effects within the military industrial complex, within the six levels of military. This could have a lot of implications, Bob, especially if other countries, especially adversaries, don't know about what the United States is holding.
I don't disagree with any of that. I think the reasons the people inside don't want stuff told, I'm sure seem to them like existential threat kind of level. But what matters, we either live in a representative democracy, which you cannot have if you based all your thoughts and decisions on faulty information supplied by the people that are in your government. You cannot have a representative democracy and live it on top of lies.
I get that, and I can appreciate that. You know, I think one of the big things for me, though, is that this is also a very large bipartisan effort from Republicans and Democrats.
Yep.
Without getting into, too much politics on it, I think that's a good thing. When both
it is. I mean, Luna made an announcement, and right following her, Moskowitz said, "Let's go." He was all supportive. That's a Democrat and a Republican on opposite ends of the spectrum wanting transparency from their government. That's a good thing.
No, and I can appreciate that, man. I can totally appreciate that. But I guess where I'm going with that is I think we're seeing a new level of political maturity when it comes to these topics, that there are certain things like beforehand, you go back even 10, 15 years ago, you may not agree with something your party is doing, but you have to vote that way because that's the way the party is going. Now we're seeing a lot more free vote and free support on this subject of conspiracy theory. I mean, do all of a sudden all these new politicians, say the under 45 crowd, all of a sudden have tinfoil sewn into their underwear?
That's a good point. But we also have, in both parties, without a doubt, people that believe stuff that they can't even talk to the other side about. And that goes both ways. It's just, we live in a very divided time in our government, and we need to figure out how to heal the breach.
What's important to you on the exposure of the UFO/UAP level?
Number one, they're here and we know something about them. Please don't ask us why, but here's what we know about them. Number two, here's how they got here. Number three, here's how they powered them. And then here's the science we've learned. Go off and have fun. If I got that, I'd be happy for the rest of my life.
There's a lot of skeptics coming out recently regarding this topic. Okay. And we're looking at it. We're going to have one on later this week regarding the subject of UFOs. Are we in a major disinformation campaign right now to try and cover it? Okay. So you say yes. If we are they there to keep the secret? Or are they there because they just don't believe it, because during their time in the military or with the alphabet agencies that they just haven't seen the evidence that everybody claims to have?
Okay, so let me tell you how that works. You picked two bad examples, because the military people and the intelligence community people, they live their entire professional lives knowing 90% of what's secret they will never be told about. And that's just the way it is, and they accept it.
That seems very simple.
It is, but I'm telling you, that's the way it is. When I went in, it was made extremely clear to me that I would know only things I worked on, and outside of things I worked on or advised on, I wouldn't know anything. And the military is exactly the same way. You have to live with the restrictions on your flow of information. That's how secrecy is kept.
Okay. Who's putting these players up to this then?
Oh, look, there are real patriots inside the government, and they're patriots on the other side, except they believe it's okay to lie to Congress and the president and not tell them anything while spending $1 trillion of the taxpayers' money, while the way the $1 trillion got to the consumers of the $1 trillion is they fed it full of a bunch of crap and lied. That is not the way to run a democracy. I don't care if they don't tell me stuff, but they got to tell somebody in Congress and the president. And so the National Security Council, working through with the Congress, can provide oversight and restrictions. We would never have had Montauk Project, other ugly Stargate, this, that, and the other, gate programs and all that crap, had Congress and the president been informed.
Okay. You have seen the inside of things, and while you were involved with agencies, you had your own personal sightings that were covered up.
Yeah.
Where did those reports go?
Oh, that's the problem. In both cases, on naval vessels, nobody wanted to hear about it. Nobody wanted to write about it. Nobody wanted to report it. Nobody wanted me to talk about it. And on those cases, when you are on a vessel, it has a captain, and you do what the captain says. Because that's the way it is.
Question.
So I hid stuff for well over a decade, longer. My submarine event, I hid from 1998 to 2022. That's a long time.
I get the cover up, and I understand, you know, a lot of people, like the captain on the submarine, obviously would not want to report that because it leads to a lot of investigation and trails of paperwork.
And a pain in the ass. And sometimes you get put on the sideline.
Why would this subject put anybody on the sideline?
They don't want to deal with it, so they don't want it brought up. You bring it up, you're not following the rules. And it's not like written down somewhere. Everybody just knows you don't talk about fast walkers and all this other stuff. You just don't talk about it. You don't talk about being on the surface and seeing a triangle that's a mile across over your ship. You just don't talk about it.
Okay. So you just kind of keep it internally.
You don't have a choice except to keep it internal, because if you go babbling off, they'll have a stretcher waiting on you.
Let's go to the battle that's happening online right now regarding this subject, because it is a battle. We see a lot of control. We see a lot of control of where people can speak and who they can speak to. We see a lot of manipulation going on. We see the skeptics becoming louder and louder. We see the experiencers kind of once again getting laughed at. They're in their normal position, you know, and we have a lot of people claiming that they don't know what's going on. Where are we supposed to find answers if it's so divided?
That's a very good question. So you try to find the best source you can that you can actually trust to whatever extent, and the first time they lie to you, they come off that list. That's the best you can do with no other information. We're living in a true information. Look, the most of it is we're not seeing evidence. That's because we live in an information-free zone. The part I am totally dedicated to now, I put it off for 4 years and I feel guilty about it, but I am out of those 4 years, and now I'm all about finding information for myself and tell others how to do it. And that's bringing Alexei Nitzki and Jim Segala and other people like that to the forefront. And Jim Segala and Hal Puthoff, just like always, they're at the forefront. And they've got funding to get all that stuff to experiencers so they can do measurements. And you don't have to worry about the measurements. You can go online and look at the measurements. So you fill out a journal entry where you have an experience. They go back and look at your data and say, oh, here's what we found during this experience, and then they tell you about it. You can look at all the data real time, leaving your device and going to them. And they make these pledges, and you have to believe them or not. If you don't trust them, don't sign up. But you can do this now for free.
I get that, but and I think it's a great idea. But as long as this subject now continues to be government dominated, that there is no such thing as CE5 until it becomes psionics by a whistleblower. There is no UFOs until these UAP are seen by fighter pilots and commercial pilots.
So let me give you just a question. If you were in government, would you want to call your activity something that Stephen Greer made up? No, you're not going to name it what he called it.
Bob, I understand that. I do understand, and I can appreciate that. It's not about the acronyms right now. What it is about control.
Well, the control is already in place. They don't need to do anything else to do the control. The control is in place. People that want to talk are hemmed in. Now, we got one tweet on X today that may show the end of all that. And what was that? 2 words. 2 words in Luna's biggest post to date. 2 words. It was A, B, and C. And in A, it was POTUS declassified. That's past tense on all her topics. If he did that, let me explain to you, Dave. If POTUS actually declassified all of these conspiracy theory documents, no one can restrain you from talking about it, no matter where they work or what they promised before, because you cannot trap somebody into not talking about declassified stuff, because that's a violation of the First Amendment. If he did that, the floodgates will open. There will not be a UAP secret, because the thousands of people that know a hint or a lot will suddenly be free to talk with no restrictions other than peer pressure.
Where's the truth, Bob?
We don't know, but I tell you what, it's more like what we're thinking than the lies we're being told. That's what I know. Talk to people you know that were on the Nimitz. Talk to people you know that were on the Theodore Roosevelt. And what we got out of both of those was crappy data. And I could tell you right now that with radar, the way we do it, you can count the seams and rivets on something from miles away. There's be no doubt what a thing was if the radar evidence was made public. And they don't have to show you its capabilities. They can say, all right, let's make it 1K and with some false color so people can easily see what it is, and degrade it without putting any instrument data on the picture. They could clear this up in a heartbeat. How do I know that? Because they're releasing photos from battlefields and things that are convenient every day with all of that stuff they claim they have to hide on it.
Is it something where we'll ever find that data?
I believe, well, here's what I'm telling you. If it's declassified, they won't be able to hide it, because somebody that's against the secrecy will come out and tell us about it. People inside the government, Dave, are angry because it's a waste of time. It costs $1 trillion or more to keep these secrets. That's more than the Pentagon gets for its budget. The secrecy is killing us. We are being held back technologically by the secrecy, when we could be making this place a paradise with nobody in want, and everybody having food, and everybody have a home, everybody have energy. There is no excuse for this, Dave. And the people inside that know this stuff, they will not keep it a secret because they know it's wrong.
We've got about 15 seconds to go before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour here on Science Bob and Friends on Spaced Out Radio. And when we return, we're going to get some audience questions. We're going to get more into the UFO story, the cover-up with Science Bob, a.k.a. Dr. Bob McGwier here on Spaced Out.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
So when we come back, we need to decrypt Lou Elizondo's missile field tweet.
We can do that.
The timing is very propitious. We'll tell people what I think it means.
All right, we can do that. We can totally do that. Good times tonight, Science Bob.
That's good.
Good times tonight with Science Bob. Science.
Lighting me with science. Do, do, do.
Horrible song.
I love it.
It's a horrible song. Yeah.
Kim, the technology on the limits today with those radars is beyond belief.
Lisa B, how you doing? Lisa loves our music that we play. She thinks it's the greatest. Dry Toast, the best name on YouTube, right there. We got like 3.5 minutes, Bob. That's a nice shirt you got on.
Thank you. I dressed up just for you, buddy.
There is no way you picked that out yourself.
No, she did.
Figured that. Warden Dragon, how you doing? Lean back a little bit. Is that a long sleeve or a short sleeve? Oh, nice. Nice. I like that shirt.
So do I. I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
And it fits a lot better this month than it did last month. Better living through modern chemistry.
Oh, yeah. I got so much else I could say. Right. Send me that vibe right now. Hi, gorgeous Shelly. How are you? Brian W. Good to see you. Yep. I need some of that vibe. That I do. Question, is Bob on a diet? Yes.
Very low calorie.
He's trying to lose the first C in science.
Yes.
And it'll still pronounce science. Imagine that. Hi, Susan Alloway. God, I'm tired. Yeah. It's like 9 days in a row, dude, of chirping.
That's a lot of chirping.
Yep, I get it.
I wish I could say more. I do. One day when I'm down to one job, I will say a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I also like a good pair of socks.
Brand new ones.
Oh, brand new socks just feels great. You know what doesn't feel good after you wash them a couple times is ankle socks. You need them. They feel so great when you first pull them out of the package.
Yes. For sure.
All right, big thank you tonight to Jay, Joe Kirk, Simon, ×2, Glenn John McEnroe, and Area 53 for the super chats tonight. Greatly appreciate the love and support. And yeah, we got like 20 seconds. Oh, dude, when I'm stressed, I get really, yeah. Here we go, Bob. 7 seconds. Here we go, the second half of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, Science Bob and Friends goes till the top of the hour. My name is Dave Scott. I am the host of this. Yes, you are. And we are proud to bring this show live to you each and every night. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Big shout out to our listener, Lisa B., who says she absolutely loves our music that we play each and every night on this show, and that she's actually made her own set list of our music because she loves it that much. So thank you, Lisa. We greatly appreciate that. Let's bring out Science Bob.
Hello, folks.
You want some audience questions, or you want to continue with the other stuff that we need to talk about?
I want to continue a little bit. So,
right. So let's get to Lou Elizondo here.
Yeah. Okay. So people may have seen
for people
Lou
who don't know,
Elizondo
a weird tweet showing missiles being launched.
Very interesting.
What do you think
the timing of this was significant. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Anyway, yeah, the timing of it was significant because it was approximately at the same time that Luna was constructing her tweet. So I think they are correlated. So if Trump declassified everything, each thing declassified is one of those missiles firing out of the field. And I think that's what it meant. He says Trump has declassified crap and the world is about to blow up as all these missiles are launched. I mean, I bet a lot of oxes are gored.
So that's what you think it is?
Yeah, I think Lou is in some advisory capacity or as a supporter of the current administration in one way or another has been told that the secrets are coming out.
Yeah, but I don't understand the missile metaphor.
Oh, because all those missiles are each one of those boxes of evidence is a missile and a warhead because it's going to land and hit some hard targets.
Okay.
It's going to destroy the secrecy and a lot of mistrust.
Do you think he's going to be involved with any type of UFO task force? Because there is rumor of that is something that's going to happen.
I don't have any information. Lou has gotten pretty tight lately about telling stuff. Look, I can't see how he could not be involved in something. We'll see.
I just don't know. I really don't know. I can't figure out whether or not he is going to be involved. He's not. I mean, just when you think he's out, he's back in, and after the book tour, he took a break, and then all of a sudden he's coming back with going on numerous podcasts and radio shows and big shows as well. He seems to be all over the place again.
But he's hyper careful about every word. I mean, it was painful watching Chris, what's his name, interview him because the pain on Chris's face was evident.
You mean Chris Ramsey?
Yep, I like Chris Ramsey a lot.
He's a good dude.
Yep.
He's a really good dude.
Yep.
Good Canadian kid.
And an awesome magician.
Fantastic beard too.
Yep.
You know, Chris Ramsey on YouTube, if you want to check out his incredible magic. He also has
Area 52 is his woo channel.
Yeah. What do you think, Bob, before we get to audience questions, what do you think about the fact that a lot of these so-called new big name speakers that have gone public are very much watching where they're going on? They're not giving access to the people who support them, which would be radio shows, which would be podcasts, unless they have multi-millions of subscribers.
I think they have a finite amount of time they can ascribe to it. And if they're doing other things outside of talking about this, they can only do so much. So they go where they can do the most good, in my opinion, is how they are calculating it, whether their calculation is correct or incorrect.
I disagree with you on that, Bob. I do. And hear me out on this for a second. And I'm not saying what they're doing is right or wrong. Okay. I have no say in it, no skin in the game. But if you control the media, you control the message. And take away the book tour, okay, or if you're trying to sell something, if you control the message and who gets that message, the narrative can be spun further of what you want the public to hear and not what the public may want to ask, even if it contradicts their own personal sightings or experience.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. But look, you know how these big ones do. They're not going to take a sledgehammer and smash them in the face for fear they will never come back. They constrain themselves in these interviews. They don't want to alienate the person.
Is it about alienating the person, or is it about alienating the information?
Well, but they will look. If you attack a popular person that's bringing you information by asking hard questions, just watch the audience reaction. You're going to get tarred and feathered.
Well, I agree, but that's the danger of playing on X today.
I totally agree. But it happens even in the chat on their YouTube channels.
That's what you need good mods for.
Yep.
But seriously though, I mean, if you look at what is happening, you know, the last 4 or 5 years on X, if you look at the cesspool that has become UFO Twitter or UFO X, you really have to have a rake to sift through the information from all the garbage that is being put out there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Look, they're in a business. They're trying to optimize their business. The other side is trying to get the most they can out of being on there. And you don't allow question previews, but you know damn well others do. Because you're a journalist, and a lot of them are not. They're entertainers doing a thing they think's fun.
True. Very true. Have you ever heard of a company called Unspace?
No.
Apparently Jay Stratton just did a presentation to them.
I wouldn't doubt it. Look, everybody is rushing to the money piles, saying, I'm the guy who can help you cash in on the tech that's revealed from crash retrievals.
Okay. How do they get a hold of the crash retrievals if the private enterprises or even the government doesn't want to give them up?
Oh, because they're going to work with private corporations and with government and whoever will work with them. Lockheed Martin is not going to tell you everything they develop. So everything they developed and they haven't patented is fair game. Look, the floodgates are about to open. You'll know that disclosure is a day away, figuratively speaking, when the flood of patents hits the patent office. Because they're going to issue a flood of patents.
I guess that's what we have to do, is watch the patents.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, because the corporations want to keep it for themselves.
Let's get to some audience questions here. Let's start off tonight with Simon in Australia. Are we stuffed? Can the world come back from this without a worldwide conflict? There's so many layers of sheets.
Well, I think that was a way to spell a word you wouldn't like on air.
Yes, that's why.
Okay, anyway. So, yeah, I don't think this revelation in particular is going to cause a world war. However, it's possible. I just don't think it's likely. Look, you cannot believe the amount of fear and angst there's been inside the government for the last 20 years about how powerful Russia and China's army is. And now we're seeing a small country with almost no means get shipped a few missiles and a few toys, and they're clobbering this million-man army into dirt. So in other words, the military is worried about, with $1 trillion budget and the best scientist money can buy, developing stuff, and they're worried about somebody else catching up to them when they can't even figure out how to keep people from stealing from them. The missile fields in China, about half the missiles will fill full of water and not fuel. I mean, they're corrupt. We have corruption in this country. You don't know from corruption till you go to these dictatorships, because that's how they pay their people to be loyal. It's corruption. Corruption is their primary business.
So that's the UFO world then.
Yeah.
We understand that we could be sitting on trillions of dollars worth of new technology and business.
Minimally trillions.
So with that being said, then, is it all about military industrial complex greed?
There's that, and all sorts of people are going to line up to feed at the pig slop trough. All sorts of them. And the people on the inside are going to take advantage of their knowledge to bring their tech to the outside.
All right, let's move on to another question. Let's go to Runa. Bob, do you believe in underground or sea NHI bases, inner Earth civilization type theories?
Completely. And may I tell people that my pal Richard Dolan released his first 900 pages of his 2-volume encyclopedia on UFOs. The first one covers from the beginning of time until 1963. The second one covers 1963 to present, and that is available today on Kindle and soon in the other formats. So Richard Dolan is doing another major job informing us about USOs, but I know from personal experience on naval vessels that there are things in the water that can only be something that no human built. I've seen it, heard it, etc. And we now have all these stories about people seeing the stuff all the time. And if I wanted to pick who I thought was going to be the UAP czar, it would be Rear Admiral Timothy Gallaudet.
Really?
Yes.
That's your choice?
That's who I think it will be.
Man, I got a bucket of paint in my cupboard that is less dry than him.
That's who he's an inside player that is a Trump supporter. I think he will be it.
I don't see.
Well, I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. I'm not telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I think.
No. I see. I always thought, man, that it would be somebody like Jay Stratton, or
No.
even
Jay is now firmly outside contractor material. He wants to make money.
that does make sense.
Well, he's been involved in 3 efforts where that was the goal.
Let's go to Chris Teen, who is asking, Bob, what's a fast walker?
When you're in a submarine and you're 1,000 feet below the surface and something goes by you traveling faster than physics says it can, that's a fast walker.
Let's go to Kim. Could AI better interpret the Nimitz footage?
It could enhance it, but it also introduces artifacts. It's better to get the higher resolution footage, but it could help. It might help, but it will introduce artifacts because the AI is trying to take whatever resolution you see and up the resolution. Well, it's taking not enough information to make this and guessing at what it should be. The guessing is done by artificial intelligence that's running inside the program, and sometimes it hallucinates.
All right. This is a comment by Shelley. It's not a question, but I'm going to read it anyway. She's asking, so for us tinfoil hat experiencers, where does that leave us continuing to look as stupid as we were made out to be?
Hi, Shelley. It's good to see you here. So I don't think that's the goal. I think the government and corporations are going to want to keep secrets. So there's going to be this tension between us out here wanting to know and them back there wanting to say something, but not everything we want to know. There's going to be tension, and it'll just go on like that. But I just think over time, the secrets are going to out, especially if there is no way to keep these secrets if they've been declassified. I tell you, the biggest, most important thing Trump could do is declassify all those things he said he wanted a Luna to be run Ramrod over. It would change all of history if he did that. The entire world's economy if he did that.
All right, let's get to some more questions here. One for your lovely partner, Lala. Dave is wondering, does she do personal readings?
She does, and you can go to LalaBright, LalaBright, LLC.com and book one.
Eli wants to know, Bob, what's your thoughts on Doge auditing the Pentagon? Do you think they will find a legacy program?
I don't know whether anybody pays attention to the news or not. A lot of people don't anymore. But let's suppose every lawsuit against Trump that's trying to stop him to do something has won a temporary restraining order while they prepare their final order, stopping them for doing anything. They are unelected. We did not elect Musk. We elected Trump. We did not elect these kids. Go out and look, whatever news source you've got to look at, to see what happened today in court. The people inside the government who are backing up stuff that Doge says with filings with the judges last week had to rush back into court today and say, oopsie, we lied. Here's what we really meant to say. And so just calm down and wait for this to go. Ultimately, it appears to me the way our country's government is constructed is going to work. And what is this? It's Congress passes a law, may be proposed by the president, it may be imposed on the president. The president signs it, it becomes law. Then it's turned over to the internal government and the executive branch to execute on that law. But one thing a president cannot do is say, I am king, I'm stopping this. And so what the courts are going to do is interpret whether or not Trump is allowed to do what he is doing. My belief is he is not allowed to do it. There are ways to do what he wants to do right, but he's trying to take a shortcut, and I think the courts are going to deny him the right.
We're going to see how that plays out very, very quickly.
We are, because this all is going straight to the Supreme Court. That's who will make the final decision.
Human Carl is asking, any thoughts on why Google shut down the Willow quantum computer?
Something they didn't like happened, I think. I mean, we hear all these secrets of they proved the multiverse exists, or they got in touch with somebody else who was fiddling with their computer. We hear all these rumors, and you can't believe any of them because corporate secrecy is going to prevent anybody that works there from actually talking about it openly.
Let's go over to Kim. Where should we invest, assuming disclosure of technology is imminent?
Go look at where others are getting venture capital. And so look, let me explain to you how the system is rigged against you. You cannot bet on venture capitalists because that's sold to insiders. Insiders get all the stock and all the control. So the insiders buy their inside track. So that's all the really interesting, brand new, fast running, going to do it quick and make a lot of money companies. The old line tech companies like Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, and others and Boeing and others who've been playing for a while, their stock will go up, but it's mitigated by other factors. And I'll give you an example. Boeing builds airplanes. They're still, even with all their problems, they're still the world's biggest airplane manufacturer. And a month from now, we can have anti-gravity cars in our yard and don't take off with the anti-gravity vehicle and go wherever we want in the world. Who needs Boeing? So you got to play it smart. Try to find somebody that's going to be a player in the game that currently sells stock. That's how you do it.
All right. Minute to go here, minute and a half. Follow up from Kim. Is Lucier what reptilians consume? LOL.
Correct. The name Lush is a play on Lush. That Lush. It's a play on the name.
Got it. Your hardest question of the night, Science Bob, because you have a reputation around here. How sleepy is Bob?
Very sleepy, Joe, and you have aliens.
Yes, Joe does have aliens. We finally got him to admit on this show when he was a guest a few weeks ago that he's got some aliens.
Yep.
I'm proud of him for finally coming out and admit it. You know, but for people who don't know, one time we caught Bob during one of our roundtables a few years ago, and Bob didn't even know that he nodded off.
No idea. I was gone.
On our YouTube channel, we were all watching him sleep, and we didn't even put his microphone on mute just in case he did start snoring. There was a couple of gruffs in there, but you know, it was a good time, Bob.
It was fun.
You're not going to live that one down, brother.
No. And look, if you can't laugh at yourself, you need to knock the friggin' chip off your shoulder.
You got that right. Science Bob, it's always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio, buddy.
It was great fun, and I'm very happy how well it went. I very much am.
We'll talk to you soon, Science Bob. Coming up next, we have Swamp Dweller. Then little Timmy James will be here for the UFO report. We'll be right back on Spaced Out Radio for Hour 3.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear, Science Bob.
Thank you, Dave, and good night.
All right, take care, buddy. And we will be right back. We will, I promise you. Vanessa, we're not getting into politics again. We had that talk yesterday, my dear. Love you, but we're not doing it. Thank you. Yes, I caught that comment about Elon. I caught that comment. I caught it. I'm a wizard. I caught it. All right. I am back. Just get set up here. There it is. Good. And there, perfect. All right. All right. 30 seconds. Thank you tonight to Brad, Linda, Simon with a hat trick, Glenn John McEnroe, Area 53, Jay, and Joe for the super chats. Greatly appreciate the love and support. And got like 5 seconds. Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate you keeping us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Sigonology. Sigonology is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night. Right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. Last Friday, after a particularly difficult week at work, I wanted to meet up with some friends at a local wine bar and art house that we are regulars at. My poetry was actually debuted there, and I am good friends with the owner. I texted my friends during the day, and I was thinking that it's going to be fun. I work close to the wine bar, so I head there straight after work, arriving before my friends. I order a glass of wine. I greet the owner who is behind the bar, and there is an older man there who seemed excited to have a conversation, but I cut it short. He seemed intoxicated already, and take it out into the patio to relax. It's quiet at the bar, but by the time my friends arrive, 45 minutes to an hour later, it begins getting really busy. They order their drinks while I get a second one. We find a spot outside of the patio to catch up. A few of their friends join us while chatting with a group of guys who we have never seen before. They try to come up and hit on us as well. They are saying things about how they like the way we look. We shake them off politely and keep chatting. My boyfriend texts and says he would be by in a few minutes to drop something off. He knows the owner. It was a piece of art for the bar. My boyfriend pulls up and drops the item off. I walk him to his car and give him a kiss goodbye. I go back to my friends, and they are chatting and having a good time. The group of guys comes up to us again, and we shake them off again. I finish my second drink, and my friend asks if he wants to go to the side of the building to smoke a bit. I was down with this idea, so we went to the side, continuing our chatting. My friend was rolling her joint, and this is when I start to feel strangely lightheaded and began having hot flashes, like when you are about to pass out. I remember turning my head to look out towards the road, and everything seemed very far away. And then, everything went black. I remember bits and pieces of trying to get to the car, and my legs not working. My friends trying to hold me up, and the next thing I remember is sitting on a couch crying with my friend. She tells me that she called my boyfriend to come stay with me and that they think someone put something in my drink. I notice my legs are scraped and bleeding, but I don't remember falling. My boyfriend stayed with me all night. I remember bits and pieces of it. Most of this being crying, confusion, and being extremely uncomfortable. Yes, I am happy and grateful that my friends were there to notice and got me out of there safely, but I was greatly affected by the way I felt. I don't feel safe anywhere anymore. I feel uneasy. This may be because I have prided myself on being able to take care of myself and my ability to protect myself. This is a place I haven't felt the same. I have had sleep issues and anxiety since this happened as well. My boyfriend wants to bring me back when I am ready so I can have good memories there and experience it in a good way again. I don't know why I'm really writing this other than to attempt to get some sense of relief. If you ever go to the bar or a social gathering, always be wary of your drink and who you have around you. Thank you, Swamp, for allowing me to share my experience with you.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another great story just like that. If you want more, head on over to YouTube and type in Swamp Dweller. He's got thousands of stories for you there to listen to for free. Just hit subscribe and ring that bell. Time for the UFO report.
That is an interplanetary flying space saucer. You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed.
All right, little Timmy James is in the house here on studio night. I like studio nights when you're here rather than when you're in your own home studio.
Yes, I do too. Actually, we have a lot of fun behind the scenes.
We do. We do. I want to ask you, though.
Yeah.
You know, you've been doing this for a while now.
Yes, sir.
Is it getting more confusing?
In certain aspects, yes. In other aspects, no. Getting to know all the players in the game, getting to know who's who, who's intertwined with who's, allies, who's not. That's all coming together. But trying to, I guess, like you said, sift through the kitty litter box and get rid of the clumps and get to the, is what I find sometimes to be just, that's what gets harder. Is there's so much information, and I think we've discussed it and on the show lots of times at different points with different guests. There's so much clutter out there. Getting through the clutter and trying to decipher what is actually fact, I think, is the part that's the toughest. I think that's the toughest part.
I want to ask you this then, follow up.
Mm-hmm.
In seeing what you have, did you think from the beginning to where you are now that, in studying this subject on a daily basis, that it would be this convoluted and complicated?
I did expect it to be a little bit of a learning curve, to be, honest with you, but convoluted, I didn't expect it to be so, convoluted and adversarial. So many little clicks and it's been, like I say, it's been a little bit difficult at times to try to figure out, just to narrow it down and get to the facts and get and push all the other stuff out of the way. That's what's been, that's been the toughest, but still good. I'm enjoying the heck out of it.
Well, that's good. that makes me feel better that
I'm, good.
After throwing you to the wolves right in on this,
it's all good, brother.
But I would say that I don't like where upology is going. To me, it's become difficult.
Yeah.
It's become very argumentative.
Exactly.
And for our radio audience who's listening, who maybe doesn't pay as much attention as we do, because realistically, that's our job.
Fair enough.
Is to pay attention. I just find it to be very, very trite with a lot of ego on the line. And it's like, we're talking UFOs here, people.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a big subject. Yes, it can affect everybody on this planet. It is a major subject that does need to be taken a lot more seriously, especially mainstream conversation.
Agreed.
But that being said, if I'm an outsider looking at this field and I go, hey, I'm going to go on X and I'm going to take a look, or I'm going to check out YouTube channels and see what's going on, and seeing the high school drama that is really a big part of this. That if you believe a certain person, or you believe a certain way, or you're an experiencer, and I'm a nuts and bolts person, that all of a sudden I have to, tear you apart like you're nothing. It's tiring. It's insulting.
It is. And I think Lua Elizondo put it, I guess, in a sort of in a context a bit a while back, when he said we're eating ourselves, or we're destroying ourselves, or whatever his quote was. I don't remember exactly, but I was actually thinking about that. I was on Rob's show the other night, and after I got off, I was thinking about some stuff that, we just kind of bantered about. And what I found was just that back in the early days of all of this starting, it seemed much simpler. It was a simpler time. But you had the officials, and you had the experiencers, and it was A and B. So the experiencers all stuck together as much as they could, and whatever. Back then, obviously, they kept things a little bit more quiet. But as it developed, that split, there was the government and the officials, and there was the experiencers. And as we grew, it seemed that the officials kind of bent a little bit more, but the people that were the experiencers and started this infighting. And like you say, everybody started to, like, your own team started beating up your own team, if that makes any sense, and it doesn't make any sense, because we're all trying to learn, and we're all trying to figure out what's going on, for whatever reason, because you're interested or whatever. But there's so much infighting on our team that it makes it difficult to get our information out to each other without there being an argument, or that's my take on it. That's what I've noticed. And I'm like, why are we all infighting? And, it's like the bosses at work. You get all those guys on the floor that get all antsy and crabby with each other. They're more productive, and they're more, keep them busy, and they're not watching what we're doing. And it seems to be working, I guess. I don't know. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it.
I think you hit the nail right on the head there. That's a good analogy. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, we've got the Annapolina Luna breakdown. So what I did is, for anybody that hasn't heard, or, obviously there's some people that haven't, I kind of broke it down what she had spoke about yesterday, but I tried to focus a little more on the UAP side of it, so that we could, that's what we focus on besides everything else. So she started off, and she was saying, we're hoping to present the information, at least acknowledge it from a government perspective, that we are not alone. So it is with profound honor that I have been entrusted by Speaker Johnson and Chairman Representative James Comer to lead the House Oversight Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets. Together with the help of the White House and our intelligent allies, the Department of Defense and the Department of Justice, we will be conducting investigations into the following: the assassination of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., unidentified aerial phenomenon, also known as UAPs, unidentified submerged objects, also known as USOs, and the Epstein client list, and the origins of COVID-19 and the 9/11 files. So Matt Laszlo pipes up and he says, do you have subpoena power? So Comer, the task force does not have subpoena power. I do. The task force is going to be a subsidiary of the full oversight committee. So if we have to issue one, Congresswoman and I will discuss it, and we'll take appropriate action. So basically, I suspect some of the agency folks who, have the most sensitive files under their watch. Well, that was nice.
I had a window open up. I apologize.
That was very nice. No problem. So I got a funny feeling there would be some tooth and nail fighting over the subpoena process if it was needed. So Luna, she says, but full transparency, We have a great working relationship, as I said earlier, with the White House, with the DOJ, with the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of State. The incoming FBI director, I think, will be very supportive. And we've also been told that the CIA director is very supportive. To put in perspective, I think that this issue transcends not just one administration, but multiple administrations. And it hasn't been until now that we've been able to get people actually in positions of power that will push for transparency. Now, if I find that different entities in various intelligence agencies are stonewalling us, I'm going to make that known to the American people. But as of right now, we are cautiously optimistic. So she goes on to say, but also UAPs. You guys know that was the biggest bipartisan, bicameral hearing that we've ever had, I think, in congressional history. So the question was, with this task force, what are you hoping to uncover as far as UAPs? That you have not already heard from other UAP hearings. Luna says the biggest information, problems that we've had with UFOs and UAPs is the amount of stonewalling, stovepiping, and also it seems that there is this push to gaslight the American people into looking at the evidence and then not fully believing it. I think for us, if we're writing the budget, for example, into the Pentagon overall for whatever programs might be out there, why is it that the members of Congress who are given top secret security clearance are being denied access? That's not a free and true government. And so for us, especially being that we have now a Secretary of State who's actually open to declassification in Marco Rubio, we're hoping to present that information, at least acknowledge it from a government perspective that we are not alone. But also, let's see what the evidence is. Next question was, what was addressed in your letters sent out? So Luna says the letters that were sent out this morning, not just on the JFK or RFK, JFK, and MLK, but on everything that I have listed above, to include UAPs, Epstein, and COVID, to the State Department, Department of Defense, and CIA. And then also we'll be sending some to the FBI, and letters have been also gone out to NSA. So those letters actually are published and for public viewing. You can find them on the government website. You can find them on Anna's Twitter, X account. They're all over the place. So they are there so anybody can read them. So Matt Laszlo says, did you get top secret clearance? Luna, I already have a top secret clearance. All members of Congress have a TSSCI. The question is, do we get SAP access, so special access program access, of which Chairman Comer's been very supportive and will be getting SAP access as well. The question is, how will they get access to alleged hidden UAP-related USAPs that we've been told don't exist? So question from another person in the audience was, can you talk about your relationship with whistleblowers? Is it going to be normal process that oversight typically does? Or would this be, or are you going to create a separate avenue for the task force? She answered, I mean, we're all about the normal process, whatever that is. But look, if you have information and it's credible, we've always approached it in that I'd like to be the person that does the interviews for it, mainly because, especially with stuff like this, we want to make sure that there's, no bad actors that are pushing false information to create narrative that's simply not there. And so, every whistleblower that comes forward, as of right now, there's people that have been publicly out there, for example, on the JFK stuff, that were actually present at the operating room where he was actually brought to right after the shooting. So we hope to bring those people in to testify. And again, these hearings will be open to the public. I'm also expanding this to the entire conference. So if someone's going to take this seriously and look at it through an investigative lens and get answers to the American people, they are welcome to ask questions of the witnesses, and you guys will all receive notice of that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, sorry about being long-winded, and that's broken down.
Well, here's the thing.
Mhm.
You know, we often will hear politicians talk tough.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's hope that this actually follows through, because for decades, conspiracy theorists have been, you know, telling people
Mhm.
this is what's going on. Now, I don't believe every conspiracy theory out there. There's a lot more that I don't believe than what I do believe.
Okay.
Okay. And we don't need to get into those.
No, I get it.
It's par for the course. But,
Yeah.
you know, I always say to people when it comes to conspiracy theories, use discernment.
Mhm.
But the ones that she is focused on, there is real evidence that there is something either being misused, mishandled, or people have been misinformed.
Right.
You know, on our subjects that we deal with here with UFOs,
Mhm.
one thing I will say about that is, you notice she did separate UFOs and UAP.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then she went back to UAP, which
Yes,
is
she
what
did.
they always do. It's what they always do,
Yeah, for sure.
right? And I hope that she does have the power to actually get this done. I don't think she will. I want her to.
Yes, I do too.
Okay. I'm rooting for her.
Mhm.
Okay. But this is a subject that has the potential to have a lot of egg on her face when it comes to this, because everybody else who has tried has landed in that category with egg
Yeah.
on their face.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know, I mean, it'd be a pretty egged face.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not going to lie. I have a little bit of a crush on Anna.
Yeah, she's a
Polino.
very, very beautiful lady.
Yeah.
For sure.
Don't tell Mrs. SOR.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Anna Polina Luna, UFOs, you know, and a veteran. Oh, I'm just.
See, my thing about this is, okay, this is great, and this is all great up front. My question is these are some big name disclosures and declassifications. So the first one they're going to hit is JFK in March, right? This is going to be the big. How much of a roadblock are they going to use with some of these disclosures to stop the other stuff from coming out? Not necessarily Anna Polina Luna, but the gatekeepers and the overseers. Just try not to be negative, but I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. So how long can we stretch this out and make this a controversial subject before we get to the next one? Right. I'm just curious to see how that's going to work. You know, are they going to put a time limit on that, on the amount of investigation and all this sort of stuff they're going to do? How deep are they going to go into each one of these subjects? Right. Going to be interesting.
Well, it is going to be interesting just to see how it all plays out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it really is going to be interesting to see what really happens. How much pull does she have?
Right.
That's the big one right there. How much pull is she going to have when it comes to all of this?
Yeah.
Right now, I don't think that she's going to get the pull that she does. She's going to get a lot of backlash,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they do have these parts.
Sure.
She's going to get backlash from the private corporations.
Yeah.
Okay. That's first and foremost.
Sure.
And how much will they be willing to give up? They don't have to give up anything.
No. True.
Because they're contractors, they're private entities.
Well, they don't call her the sledgehammer for nothing.
No, and this and this is why I want her
Me
to
too.
succeed.
Me too.
I want her to. The only thing that she can hold accountable is the government agencies that are holding this up. So
Exactly.
whether it's Aaro,
Mhm.
whether it's the Pentagon and Susan Goff, who has been a great deceiver of information when it comes to this subject.
Yep.
We're going to see where it goes.
Mhm.
All right. That's pretty much it. Tim, we're going to continue the UFO report when we return. I know there's something to do with Aaro you got coming up.
He said, she said, yep.
Yeah, we got a little bit of he said, she said coming up. We're going to play the UFO report game. Tim James, our UFO reporter, he is intrepid indeed on Spaced Out Radio.
This is Spaced Out Radio, and your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear.
Yep. I like the way that I was getting primed, laying in bed. I was like, oh, I want to see this news conference or this press conference. And I like the way that Fox.
1 second here.
Yeah.
There's a question from Wee Rooney. Is Tim sitting next to Dave? Looks like the same studio. No, Tim is right there.
I'm
So
over
the other
here.
side of me. So, oh God, I ruined my camera. There
Oh,
we go.
jeez.
Jeez, Dave.
Oh, Dave.
Moron. What are you doing?
Oh. Yeah, well, you were saying, I like the way that Fox did that. They got the jump on it. Hey, guess what's going on? It was like they totally were the party spoilers before the press conference. I was like, of course, Fox News is going to have it before everybody else does, right?
Right. I like it when little Timmy James is here.
Yes, we have fun talking about food and such.
Mm-hmm. It's not snowing here. It's too cold.
Yeah.
But it is starting to warm up, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't we supposed to get snow tomorrow?
Tomorrow or Saturday, yeah.
Weather Network. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see what's going to happen here. Well, that's tonight. Overnight down to minus 19 Celsius.
Oh, that's not bad.
High of minus 6 tomorrow.
Really? I'm wearing my shorts to work.
Yeah, no, we're not scheduled to get snow until Sunday.
Oh, now they pushed it. Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of good, though.
Mm. Well, it's funny driving up the highway and around town, and you go, what the?
Weird, though. It's high of minus 6 tomorrow, high of minus 11 on Friday, high of minus 5 on Saturday,
Oh, geez.
plus 1 on Sunday, plus 2 on Monday.
Oh,
The ice is coming to the highway.
You got her.
Son of a... God, I hate that ice.
Tim's chair is smaller. Yeah. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, we're icy highways in the morning. That's always the best.
Oh, hold on. Let's see here. So today's what? The 13th? Or tomorrow's 13th. Friday is Saturday snow. Saturday night snow.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday snow.
Public service announcement. Friday's Valentine's Day for everybody.
Yeah.
Just remember.
Monday, no snow. Tuesday night snow. Wednesday snow.
Wow.
Thursday night snow. Friday night snow.
Holy, what are we, just dustings? Or are we talking?
Well, let me see here. Less than a centimeter.
Yeah, okay.
Less than a centimeter. Less than a centimeter. Less than a centimeter.
Mm. Well, we know how that changes, and then
Yeah, it's all supposed to be less than a centimeter.
the sky goes that dark gray black. You go, that's going to be more than a centimeter.
Yep. Honestly, I would really, I'll be honest, I'd like to see a good blizzard.
Yeah.
We haven't had one in a while.
Those ones where you hear the snowflakes going thunk, thunk,
Yeah,
thunk.
it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
I made the mistake a few years ago where I forgot to shovel my patio off. And so then my patio started getting, we had about 2.5 feet on the patio.
That's a lot of weight.
3 feet on the patio.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I got to do this.
Yep.
And the under part had frozen.
Yeah. Yep.
And it took me like 4 hours to do my patio. The snow was so bloody heavy.
Jeez.
And I was like, yeah, not doing that again.
And you got a decent sized patio.
I do have a decent sized patio.
Man.
My patio would be much nicer if the church lights were pointed down rather than across.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Ruins my view. Completely ruins my view. Thank you tonight to Lee, Simon with 4, Glenn John McEnroe, Area 53, Linda, Brad, Jay, and Joe for the super chats. Greatly appreciate the love and support. Yes, I have a snowblower.
We got to get that carburetor fixed.
I don't need it, though. Look at my driveway.
I know.
I don't need it. You'll be one of our great provinces, Jerry Carter. Here we go, final half hour of the UFO report and tonight's show. My name is Dave Scott. We greatly appreciate you tuning us in because we love doing this for you each and every night. Why not be here with us? It's a good thing. It really is. Reminder to all of you in Radioland that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. I'm Dave Scott. That's Tim James over there. It's a UFO report. You got something from Aaro for us.
Yeah. Again, a little bit of a he said, she said, but if it's true, very interesting. So a little bit of a new twist. So, and this is the interesting thing. Aaro, obviously, Aaro, the Pentagon's UFO investigation office under Sean Kirkpatrick, was provided with a great deal of information and intelligence by Jake Barber and one of his colleagues in a briefing. And mysteriously, all that information that was provided to Aaro at that time has disappeared from Aaro's files. It wasn't until Jake Barber, after his associate had given a brief to Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, went to Aaro after Kirkpatrick left to go speak to John Kozlowski. So he provided John Kozlowski with the details and the information that had been given to the previous Aaro head of Aaro. It is then that Aaro itself realized that there was no longer information in its possession that had been provided by Barber and his associates. I'm thinking, and this is coming from Ross Colhart. So this isn't just some random, it's like, if that's the case, the nothing to see here.
Yeah, but should we be surprised by that? Like, even if it isn't true, it's kind of like the kid who yells the sky is falling.
True.
Okay, or the boy who cried wolf. We've heard Sean Kirkpatrick, Chief Wigamit, the entire time with there's nothing to see here, nothing to see here, nothing to see here.
Exactly.
And when you want more, there's nothing to see here. Okay. And then this is a guy, after he gets out of his position, starts up his own crash retrieval team and was taking applications for it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me.
No.
Now, I think what would really, really solidify Jake Barber's case is if he had the paperwork or copies of the paperwork that he sent to Aaro. Because here's the thing. When you do anything you do, there's a timestamp on it. Unless you're using the old-fashioned snail mail.
Right.
Okay. If you're emailing that, if you're faxing it, because some people still fax. Okay. If you are digitally uploading it, whatever it may be, there's a timestamp on that. So if he has that paperwork and he put it on computer, there should be a timestamp.
Yeah.
There should be a timestamp to everything.
Right.
That way we might be able to actually get this done.
This is true.
Okay. And find those factual evidence rather than the trust me bro situation. And I think in this case, it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Barber and his team sent that to Kirkpatrick. Would not surprise me whatsoever.
Right.
That being said, we don't know.
Not yet, because Ross is still, this is a special report that he's got televised. Possibly what you're saying may come to light during this special
That would
report
be
that he's
nice.
doing. Yeah.
And hopefully Ross Coulthard can bring that out.
That would be good.
That would be really good. Because I think Ross is doing his best to try and bring out the story.
He most certainly is.
For what he can.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's got Jake Barber locked and loaded right now.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a good thing for him and News Nation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we're all going to be eyes peeled to it.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
really are. The critics, the believers, everybody should be part of that.
Yeah. Agreed.
But
Agreed.
I'm going to be curious, but I wouldn't put it past Sean Kirkpatrick. I mean, this is also a guy who said there's nothing to see here.
Yeah.
With all the reports that were allegedly coming into him,
Right.
which never made it,
Mm-hmm.
or people like David Grush saying there was no point in taking it to him because we knew the paperwork would get 86th.
Yeah. Exactly. And I've heard other people call the old Aaro, or whatever when Sean was in charge of it, the whistleblower's fly paper. Right. That's all they were using it for. They were just seeing who was being the rat, so to speak. But whatever, that's all speculation. And I guess we'll have to see what the report shows or what Ross does on with his special news report. So we'll go from there.
What else you got for us?
All fun now. We're going to
Perfect.
lighten it up. We're going to get back into the normal UFO creepy, weird stuff. So this one goes back to 1913, this month, 19th. So over 100 years ago. So this happened at 9 p.m. So an Earth grazing meteor procession is seen from locations across Canada, the northeastern United States, and Bermuda, and from many of the ships at sea, including 8 off of Brazil, giving a total recorded ground track of over 7,000 miles. The meteors are particularly unusual in that there is no apparent radiant, no point in the sky from which the meteors appear to originate. Witnesses are surprised to see a procession of between 40 and 60 bright, slow-moving fireballs moving from horizon to horizon in a practically identical path. Individual fireballs are visible for at least 30 to 40 seconds, and the entire procession takes some 5 minutes to cross the sky. Subsequent observers also note a large white tailless body bringing up the rear, but the various bodies making up the procession continue to disintegrate and travel at different rates through their course, so that by the time observations are made in Bermuda, the leading bodies are described as like large arc lights in appearance, slightly violet in color, followed closely by yellow and red fragments. Research carried out in the 1950s by Alexander Mabeen uncovers a handful of reports from newspaper archives in the northern United States at Escanaba, Michigan. The press states the end of the world was apprehended by many as numerous meteors travel across the northern horizon. In Batavia, New York, a few observers see the meteors and many people hear a thundering noise, while others reports are made in Nunda and Dansville, New York, where several residents again think the world is ending. The observations are analyzed in detail later in 1913 by astronomer Clarence Shant, leading him to conclude that as all accounts are positioned along a great circle arc, the source is a small, short-lived natural satellite of the Earth. One curious feature of the reports highlighted by Mabane is that several appear to indicate a second meteor procession on the same course around 5 hours later. Although the Earth's rotation means that there is no obvious mechanism to explain this, one observer, A.W. Brown from Thamesville, Ontario, reports seeing both the initial meteor procession and the second one on the same course at 2:20 a.m. the next day. Shant's original report also refers to a series of 3 groups of dark objects that pass on the same course as the previous meteors from the west to the east over Toronto on the afternoon of February 10th, which he suggests are something of a meteoric nature. So I dug a little bit further into the story, And what people were reporting was that these were definitely, they did not feel these were meteorites. Remember, this is 1913. These weren't meteorites, and local authorities in Canada had Toronto Constabulary didn't want to do any sort of research, didn't want to look into it at all. It was all, let's just let the scientists go with the meteor story. So that was kind of a cool thing from over 100 years ago anyway.
The interesting part about that, I always love those old stories because in today's day and age, we would say, oh, that's satellites.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, that's the space station.
Yep.
Venus, Jupiter, swamp gas, Elon Musk's Roadster.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, my former mother-in-law on her broom. Okay. There's oh, dude, she was bad.
Yeah, I know. I had one too.
She was bad. But the point is, they didn't have anything to go by. Airplanes were barely being invented at that point.
For sure.
Okay. They were still trying to figure it out. And the only thing that really flew back then was hot air balloons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe Chinese lanterns.
True. And yeah, because everything was train back then too, right? So,
and horse.
And horse. So interesting. Yeah, it is funny because I like those real old ones too, because it's like, what? How did they describe that? Interesting what they came up with. So I got another one for you, and this is from 1974. So this is the Carl Higden abduction. So, and it's a Wyoming hunting trip gone wrong. So, in 1974, Carl Higden, a 30-year-old father of 4, went on a hunting trip in Medicine Bow National Forest in Wyoming. He had no idea that this trip would change his life forever. According to Higden, he was abducted by 4 humanoid creatures and taken aboard a spaceship. His story shocked the world and sparked debates about the existence of extraterrestrial life. So, in 1974, Carl Higden set out to hunt elk in the Medicine Bow National Forest. He saw 4 humanoid creatures approaching him, and he shot one of them. The creatures then disappeared, and Higden went back to his truck. However, he suddenly found himself in a strange room on a spaceship. The creatures communicated with him telepathically, and he could not move his body. After what seemed like hours, he was returned to his truck. Higden's story is one of the most bizarre abduction cases ever reported. Well, I don't know about that, but okay. Critics argue that he made up the story to gain publicity or to cover up a mental breakdown. However, Higden stuck to his story until his death in 2018. He passed a lie detector test and provided a detailed description of the creatures in the spaceship. Some UFO enthusiasts believe that Higden's encounter was genuine and that he was chosen by extraterrestrial beings for a specific purpose. There are several pieces of evidence that support Higden's abduction story. Firstly, there were physical traces left at the scene of the encounter. Higden found a strange metal object that he had claimed fell off the spaceship as he was being returned to his truck. He also reported that the creature he shot had a strange metallic taste. So he ate the creature, I'm gathering. Secondly, Higden's description of the creatures and the spaceship is consistent with other abduction cases. The creatures were described as tall, with thin bodies, large heads, tasted like metal. They had no hair, no ears, and no nose. Their eyes were large and almond-shaped. The spaceship was described as circular and metallic with flashing lights and a humming sound. Finally, Higden passed a lie detector test administered by the Wyoming Highway Patrol. The test results indicated that he was being truthful when he described his abduction experience. While a lot of lie detector tests are not always reliable, they provide some scientific backing to Higden's story. The evidence suggests that Carl Higden's abduction story might be genuine. While there is no concrete proof that extraterrestrial beings exist, Higden's story is one of the most compelling abduction cases ever reported. His story has been investigated by UFO researchers, scientists, and skeptics, but no one has been able to disprove it. Higden's abduction has left a lasting impact on the UFO community and the world. It shows that we still have a lot to learn about our universe and the possibilities of extraterrestrial life. Whether you believe Higden's story or not, it is a reminder that the truth is sometimes stranger than fiction. The 1974 Carl Higden abduction case is a fascinating and controversial topic that continues to spark debate about the existence of extraterrestrial life. While skeptics dismiss Higden's story as a hoax or a mental breakdown, others believe he was chosen by extraterrestrial beings for a specific purpose. Whatever the truth may be, Higden's story remains one of the most compelling abduction cases in history.
Wonderful. We're eating aliens now.
I know, right? It tasted like metal. Should have barbecued it.
Can you imagine going back then? You know, all of a sudden you're out in the wilderness, just kind of doing your thing, and you see these humanoid objects, and the first thing you think is cannibalism.
and you're a hunter. I'm a hunter. You see something, four things walking on two legs towards you. Yeah, I'm not shooting at them.
At what point? No, let's study this for a minute here. Okay, let's study this for a second.
All right.
You're right. You're right. If you're a hunter, you don't go shooting humanoids.
No.
You may have a bad day with the law.
I'm thinking.
Okay. I would never go hunting with this guy.
No.
But at what point or what happened that all of a sudden made him pull the trigger? And then decide,
hey,
I want to know what these aliens taste like.
I know. It's yeah, the thought process is not there. It's just not
like none
there.
of that story makes sense.
No.
I don't even know if I believe it.
Hey, come on. It's the most compelling abduction case in UFO history. It even said so.
No, I get that. And I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, and it's a good story. It's a good tale.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. But, you know, as Frostkitten says in the chat room, alien, the other gray meat.
Nice one.
You know,
nice one.
But seriously, let's think about this for a second. None of this adds up. If you're an experienced hunter or even an amateur hunter, the first thing you're taught is you never raise your weapon.
Yes.
To what could be a person.
Oh, no, absolutely. No, you're 100% correct.
And then number two, after you drop it, what kind of mental illness do you have to have all of a sudden say, I'm going to cut this open and cannibalize it?
Yeah. Geez, I hope the kids like it. Like
when you bring that back to your fire pit, do you have to debate ketchup or mustard? Do you put it in butter and maybe some onions to saute it?
Exactly. How do you field dress it? Like, I mean, yeah, it doesn't make sense because when he walked up on it, I mean, okay, he's 30 years old. He's a father of four. I'm sure he's tired, but if he did end up using his pointy stick and knocking the thing down, you're going to identify it as soon as you walk up. It doesn't look like an elk, I would suspect. It doesn't look like an animal. Boom.
All I'm saying is if I was in that situation and I walked up to this, okay, and let's say I did drop one.
Sure.
I walk up and it is not human. I don't know how many more are out there.
No.
I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. I'm not thinking whether to barbecue this or put it in a stir fry.
Well, yeah, he saw four of them. So where the other three go?
Right?
Oh my goodness.
So much of that story does not sound truthful.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't.
The guy's either the greatest liar in the world.
Yeah.
Who, you know, was able to pass the lie detector test.
Yeah.
Or the guy is just absolutely psychotic.
I think you nailed it. Oh my goodness.
Like he makes our Keith Andrews look like a saint.
Okay. You know what? I'm not trying to be funny about this. I wonder if R. Keith has ever heard of this story. I really do.
Probably not,
Yeah.
because he doesn't do his research on anything.
No,
No,
for sure. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Anyway,
where did this happen and when again?
this happened. Sorry, I was just going to somewhere else, but we're not going to have time for that. That was in. Oh no, that's the camping trip. That was the one I was going to do. It happened in. What did I say? Wyoming.
In 1974.
Yeah.
So it's prior to Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah. And prior to any sort of, I guess, hunting school and whatever. So, I think you could just own a pointy stick and do that back then.
I just can't believe the guy would literally think, I want to know what this tastes like.
Oh, I know. I read it and I reread it and I was like, no, that's got to be a typo. What does it taste? No, it doesn't. You can't mix up taste and look. Like, I was trying everything and it was like, it's not happening. It's not. It was a taste. It tasted like metal.
Of course it does. Dude's lucky that he didn't get any sort of cancer or radiation.
Well, he lived in 2018, for gosh sakes, right? Yeah. Yeah. I guess they went up and I guess that was part of the abduction, right? Get up there and remove Charlie out of his stomach or parts of Charlie out of there.
No kidding. Give us our friend back.
That's right. We can repair him, you moron.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Good story to discuss.
Kills
anyway.
one, eats it, then gets abducted.
What'd you do with our friend? Nothing. Didn't do nothing.
In the meantime, he's got a ham hock hanging out of his back pocket.
That's right. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
What do you use as a side garnish? Do you do some sautéed mushrooms?
Well, you might as well.
A tater?
Something to get that metal taste out of here.
Thank you, Tim. We say hello to Mr. Ron Bubblefoot Thal. Roger in the background. Rockin' every night. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening to guitars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat room tonight. YouTube, Twitch, Elga, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and S1 Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us. Because together,
Don't make a mistake. We're watching.
We watch you fall so long. We wait for you to fall. We will expose you all. I know you're out there somewhere. Watching me. Yes, the Root Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Seats are only available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, you got room for them too. Good night, everybody. You are ridiculous with that story.
Isn't it great though? I told you, let's fun it up.
Oh man. So there's one person in our chat room, Homeless to Millionaire,
Okay.
put up this post, and I had you on it the whole time.
Uh-oh.
It was unidentified balding object or something like
Is that what you were laughing about?
That's what I was laughing about. Oh, I'm trying to find it here. Lotus Spider, how are you? I'm close. I can feel it. Where is it here? Oh, let's see here. Let's see here. Hold on, scrolling on up. Ah, it's an unidentified bald object. And I eventually zoomed in on you where it was just you on camera.
Oh, really?
I'm like, I'm an asshole for doing that.
Oh, that's all right.
That's okay.
We's having fun.
I'm like, yeah, Tim deserves that. Of course he does. That's little Timmy James, everybody.
Great.
That's the way we roll here.
Quit picking on me. What is your favorite GNR song? Oh,
Paradise City.
yep.
It's the only song that matters. Where'd you see that one?
Cosmic Joe.
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
What's yours?
I have to say that, oh, geez. Paradise City, mainstream. Ooh, geez, there's so many good ones. I like the deeper cuts, some of the deeper cuts, but yeah, I'd have to say Paradise City or Welcome to the no, Paradise City out of those two. What else?
Strange is good.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my top 5.
My Michelle. I like that too.
My top 5 would be Paradise City, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Chinese Democracy, number 2.
Yeah, that's killer.
Rocket Queen, number 3.
Yep.
You Could Be Mine, number 4.
That's a pretty cool song too.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Wicked vocals.
Yes. And a little known one.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the Chinese Democracy album. It's called There Was a Time.
Okay. I don't know.
Otherwise known, if you take the first letter of each word, it's an acronym for a woman that he hated.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, interesting fact, I'm pulling a Sheldon Cooper here. Interesting fact
Bazinga.
that on Rocket Queen, during the solo, they felt there was something missing. So if you actually listen to the song during the solo, you hear a woman moaning.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know this.
For people who don't know, Axl Rose grabbed Steven Adler's girlfriend while he was passed out drunk or high.
Yeah.
Took her into the studio because everybody knew that she was a loud moaner.
Yep.
And he nailed her in the studio to get those that moaning sound to put on the record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. You just don't get that anymore.
Nope. Definitely not.
No.
She and I've seen that on a few interviews. And yeah, she's quite proud of that.
I would be too.
Yeah, claim to fame. Well, you know that song.
Chinese Democracy, though, I realize that it doesn't have the originals in there outside of Axl.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't get the play that another album would.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, Chinese Democracy is my number 2 favorite Guns N' Roses album.
Well, on the weekend, you and I were talking about that. And yeah, you have to DJ Ashba definitely plays that song better than Slash.
I showed you that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We were talking about it on the weekend.
Yeah,
you were correct.
Hi, Debbie Lou.
Dip from Sec.
Yeah. And the problem is the diehards just hated it because of who was playing in it. In the band. Because Slash wasn't there, Duff wasn't there. Hi, Earth Goat Trees.
Out of all of them, it's funny because people, who's your favorite member of the band, right? My favorite out of Guns N' Roses was always Duff. I don't know what it was. I always liked Duff. Duff was just steady, and yeah, I always liked Mr. McKagan. Good Seattle kid. What's the matter?
I think I got his book up here somewhere.
What, 3 Chords in the Truth?
No, his I have it somewhere. His autobiography.
Oh, okay. Well, and
apparently Duff Beer was named after him on The Simpsons.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the rumor. I shouldn't say like I know it. Yeah. He really did that. I really enjoyed that documentary. Well, I guess it was a rockumentary that he did it was filmed live at the Moore Theater in Seattle, which is a super cool place. I stayed in the hotel there upstairs above the theater, and the ceilings they've got those huge, like 11, 12-foot ceilings in there, and they've got the massive windows, those big, like New York style windows that overlook the street below. But yeah, he did he played the Moore Theater, and he did his latest album and parts of his book intertwined with it, and you kind of go, oh no. But it's on YouTube. You can check it out. It was freaking awesome. Phenomenal. The guy's awesome. Amazing he's not dead. Amazing a lot of them aren't dead.
Especially from the GNR.
Mm-hmm.
How did anybody from Motley Crue and GNR survive?
Yeah. No doubt.
And it's funny because Metallica credited GNR's partying and drinking and drug use to their sobriety.
Yeah.
Except for James Hetfield, who struggled with the drinking, not the drugs.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
No, Kirk, Mr. Hammett was the big time Peruvian marching powder fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Peruvian marching powder. That's I've never heard that before.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, another.
Yeah, it was during that tour with Faith No More,
Yes.
Metallica, and Guns N' Roses when they saw GNR face to face that they just said, "That's it. If we're gonna survive, we need to cut this crap out."
Oh yeah. Well, it was like there's that photo shoot. You see, there's that famous picture of Joe Perry from Aerosmith and Slash standing next to each other in the hallway backstage, and Slash has no shirt on. He's kind of leaning, he's hammered, and Joe Perry just kind of staring at the camera, looking choked. Well, the story behind that was a Slash. They were supposed to do this photo for Guitar Player magazine, I think, and they were like, yeah. And Aerosmith was sober at the time. He come out and he finally got Slash out of the dressing room. He comes out and he's drank so much booze that his guts distended. And if you look on the photo, it's all sticking out. So before the photo got taken, Joe Perry goes, "What are you doing, man?" And he says, "Like, we were supposed to get this done, right?" He goes, "You're drunk." And so Joe Perry just punched him square in the face, picked him back up and says, "Now stand up and take the picture."
Look at Rob here.
What's he?
Welcome to the latest episode of Two Canadians Talk About Stuff.
That's cool, Rob.
Yeah, that's a good.
I like that.
Maybe we should do our own YouTube channel over that.
We should. An after-hour show.
Look at that.
Two Canadian guys, eh?
Uh-huh. You got it, eh? Uh-huh. Rob's such a hoser.
He is.
He's such a hoser.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
I believe that the majority of Canadians have no idea what hoser comes from.
Well, hang on a second. I don't think I remember, actually.
I don't even remember.
No. Have to Google her.
Yeah. I'm Googling. Hoser or hosehead.
Yeah.
It's a slang term originating in Canada that is used to reference or imitate Canadians. Well, of course it does.
Yeah, exactly.
It gained popularity and notoriety due to Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's the meaning?
I don't know if there really is a meaning. I think it's just a slang word for us.
Yeah.
We're a bunch of hosers.
I'm going to find out the meaning of hoser. A foolish or uncultivated person.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, it's Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you. You don't know what it's like being Canadian and not going to school.
Oh, my good God. And owning the album. And yeah. Oh, good day. I'm Bob McKenzie, and this is my brother, Doug. How's it going, eh? Oh, yeah.
It was amazing.
They even got Geddy Lee to sing on the song on Take Off, right? Those were the days.
The 2000s version of Bob and Doug McKenzie would be the Trailer Park Boys.
Oh my God, yeah. Yep.
God bless the Trailer Park Boys.
My kids were like, I think my son was 14 and my daughter was 11 when that first started. They come over and visit dad. And then on the weekends, obviously. And then it was like, when are we going home? After the Trailer Park Boys, kids. They'd Dad, let us watch the Trailer Park Boys. Oh, perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want your ex-wife thinking right there. Uh-huh. Because, you know, that's what we do around here.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Where are we? All right, there we go. Oh, good. All right. What else are we going to talk about for stuff?
I don't know. Being 100% transparent, I'm pretty bagged. You've been going. I've been sick. Yeah, it's been fun.
I am so mentally exhausted. I've never been this mentally exhausted in about a decade.
And that's so hard to shake.
You know, when I first moved up here, it took me about 6 months to calm down.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And now it's like right back at it.
Yeah. That's no good. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I know. It was weird because when I moved up here too, after, you know, you move up from obviously down on the lower mainland, and I remember just being so stressful getting everything squared away and buying the house and back and forth and back and forth. And yeah, it took a while to mellow out, but I remember the first night sleeping in the house, had the bedroom window open, and then just starting to drift off. And all of a sudden the loons started going off on the lake. I was like, okay, I'm good.
I love when you hear the loons.
Yeah. You know, springs are and summer's around the corner.
We hear the loons here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the lake is like 2 miles away.
Yeah. Well, you know where I live. We're like half a block off the lake. And yeah, it's nice.
But you get to see the pelicans.
Yes.
I always look forward to pelican season.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, right? Everybody's like, pelicans.
Yeah. Like the pelicans fly up here from all over the United States and Mexico and Central America, fly up here to breed.
But it's only, I don't know is it only on our lake out here? Because I mean,
there's a bunch of lakes.
I didn't realize that.
There's a big pelican population that comes up here to breed
on a migratory. Yeah, I knew that, but I didn't know it was huge. I thought it was just like a random.
Like we're only about a month and a half away from pelican season.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you just wake up one day, the pelicans are there.
And then they're noisy.
Yeah. I remember when I first moved up here, one of my first friends said, have you seen the pelicans yet?
You're like, yeah,
I'm
right.
like, there's no ocean around here. What the hell are pelicans doing here?
Yeah.
She's like, no, I'm serious. Because we got pelicans up here. It's a major breeding ground for pelicans.
Yeah.
I would have never thought.
No, not at all.
Right?
No, because you're waiting. You hear the geese flying over. You go, okay, spring's here. Yeah, I get it.
I must admit, I do like it when the trumpeter swans come over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me
I
too.
do enjoy that.
Me too.
Yeah, when the swans
Spaced Out Radio with your
yeah, I do like that. Big fan.
Yeah, no, but I do like the loons. It's so nice. It's like
I'm editing right now, Nicole. I can't because I can barely see.
It's like when I went on the Bower and I was paddling and got to this campsite and just exhausted. So climbed up and put the canoe up and set up camp and had some supper and just sat by the campfire and kind of mellowed out. And then that night they were like maybe 20 feet off of the lake.
Yeah.
and the loons are da, 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 da. And it was, I didn't even care. It was like, oh,
Just let it happen.
I love it.
You just take it right in.
Yep. The ones that I hate is at night when the beavers are out. Curse slap. And they just keep going back and forth in front of your tent when you're out like on camping like that. It's like
I was fishing beside a guy on the Better one morning. It's still dark out.
Yeah.
He got attacked by 2 beavers right beside me.
Really?
He was fishing about 6 feet over from me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I see him take his rod, just whap on the rod, snapped his rod.
Oh, gosh.
Right. and the freaking beavers kept like coming at him. Right.
That's strange. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. And he left. I got the spot.
Yeah.
That's all I cared about. Here I am with my remote control, right? Yeah, take that, you son of a bitch, for me to the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Caught a lot of fish that day.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Oh, yeah.
What's wrong? Attacked by beavers. Oh, Rob. Hitting them with a stick.
Yep.
Don't hit beavers with a stick.
Trust me when I say this. You don't want to piss off Canadian geese.
Oh, hell no.
If you want to see how scary Canadian geese are, Google their mouths.
Mm-hmm.
Their beaks. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's full of teeth.
Yeah. Or if you're ever up in Canada or wherever, if you ever decide to go to Vancouver, wander around Stanley Park when they're during the nesting season. That's always fun because you are minding your own business and you're walking along the seawall or whatever you're doing. They go out of their way.
Yep.
To come. It's like, dude, you ran all the way across this field and I was walking away from you. Yeah, yep. They're brutal.
Yep.
Yeah.
They are assholes.
Yeah. 100%.
They are assholes. They're totally get off my lawn kind of people.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they can be nasty.
Yep. Bastards. Damn geese.
When I lived in Ladner, during I don't know what time of year it was, doesn't matter. The great blue herons would all come and nest on the ridges all along Tawasin, and they'd mate up in there and build their nests. At night, you could hear them for miles screaming, and they sound like the pelicans too. They're terrible sounding.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember laying in bed and be like, "Jesus, shut up!"
Mm-hmm.
About 2 weeks worth of it.
It does happen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It totally does happen. Not gonna lie.
No, lying doesn't do you any good.
Just the way it goes.
Yep.
What else are we going to talk about?
I don't know.
What are we griping about?
What are we griping about? I really don't know, man. I don't know how many.
Yeah, the badass Cobra chickens.
Well, you got good news today, or are you not sharing that yet?
Yeah, I can share that.
I'm just asking.
Oh, yeah. I was actually meaning to during the show.
Oh.
Yeah.
So all the people that hung around get to find out.
Yeah. Our new company name for Spaced Out Radio, or Spaced Out Radio's parent company.
That's right.
Is just being set up. We got the name approved. Called Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. So at the end, when you hear me say SOR Media Ventures Limited, eventually I will memorize it and change that to Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And it's owned all by Dave.
Yes. Dave will finally take his spot on the mountain.
That's it. That is awesome.
Yes, Bigfoot Broadcasting. I didn't know. I didn't think it would go through.
That's so weird. Why would you expect it not to?
It's the British Columbia government
Oh,
They don't like anything fun.
Oh, really? Like just even, I mean, obviously if it was derogatory or something or condescending, I could see, but there's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't suspect.
Do you really trust David Eby?
Oh, 100%. Not at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Not at all.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm not going to go there. Not going there.
Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
I do too.
Yeah.
And that made Dave a little picture when he told me today. So I went and did an AI photo or whatever, rendering generator or whatever. And it's building. It looks like it's in New York City. And there's a sign above a doorway. It's spaced out radio. And then down on the bottom corner, it says Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. And there's a big Sasquatch and he's wearing a tuxedo.
Right.
Yeah. Looking sharp.
That's right. That's what we do around here.
Those will make good t-shirts too.
Bigfoot Broadcasting?
Sure.
Yeah, we could get yeah. But you see, now I have to get it's actually a lot of work that I have to do now.
Oh yeah.
Because I have to get everything registered, which is cool.
Yeah.
Get the tax numbers.
Yeah.
Which is gonna suck.
Yeah.
Well, at least they can't charge carbon tax on.
That's right.
On,
and you're a limited company, though.
Yeah,
that's kick butt.
And BBL, Nicole, Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited.
Bubble.
BBL. We're on the BBL.
BBL.
But then from there, after that happens, now I have to switch over everything to the business for taxation.
Yeah.
Like on YouTube and Spreaker and store and everything. So I got to do all of that, which is like, it's going to be a lot of work that I've never done before.
Sure.
But it's going to be cool.
Yeah. 100%.
It's going to be real cool. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. On that note, tomorrow night on the show, Ella LeBain joins us. We are going to talk about ETs, alien contact, exoplanets. Oh, excuse me. Oh, where did that come from?
Oh.
Exoplanets. And maybe a Lucky Charms. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It's
be
good.
Fun.
Dave 101 tomorrow night, too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you tonight to Simon times 5.
Oh.
Glenn John McEnroe, Area 53, Cosmic J. No, that's Galactic J. Joe Kirk, Linda Thompson, Brad, the Biofuel Man, Major Lee, and Deborah Rooney.
Nice.
For the super chats. Let's give them a clap.
Thank you.
Don't forget to hit subscribe, ring that bell, and we'll see you all tomorrow night, everybody. Have a good one. Good night.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.